And when you're live, and we got a little bit of video game stuff like Fortnite's new season.
Oh yeah, I did see that dropped.
Not that I give a fuck, but
people are excited about it.
They added Peter Griffin and made him skinny and athletic.
That's funny.
I was very confused by the fact that they made him like legit have abs and stuff. And and then Destiny's new season came out last week. Chucky came out last week, so there's some gaming stuff, and we have to talk college playoffs.
Oh yeah,
I can't. I've been upset all day still, and I know people are going to argue, it wouldn't be good football, blah blah blah, but there's so much that I have to say about what happened with that. It's just aggravating. Like, I understand the business side of it. Don't get me wrong, I do. But there's things that I will say when we get going. Let me post we're live on Snap. I don't do it every time, but why not? Not like Haley's going to show up anyway. So anyway, how was your football Sunday? How was your sanding and getting your
it was good.
Work around the house done?
Yeah, I got all that done. So I got some staining and some polishing to do coming up here. So I'll probably get that done during the week so I can get the bedroom done this weekend.
But you can do it while you watch your Patriots Thursday night football game. I don't even remember who they play. I just know it's really bad.
Oh, it's another snooze fest.
It's probably one of the worst Thursday night games of the season, which is hard to say.
The Steelers.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm here. No, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, if it helps you talk about it.
If it helps you any, we got to talk about it at some point, but we got a long list of things to do before we get to it. So you got some time to prep, get drunk a little,
Yeah.
Call up Master Oban so he can come in and give some support and love in here to make everybody happier and feel nicer.
Because yikes.
Yeah, I have a lot of comments. Like, I have a lot to say about Florida State. I still have more to say about what happened with the Eagles. And the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But how are you doing anyway, Boogie? Besides what happened yesterday, I assume that didn't ruin your whole Monday? Maybe it did. I don't know. But how are you? Tesco, what's going on, my dude?
How's it going, Tesco?
Coming in to celebrate the soon-to-be 11-6 Green Bay Packers. I lost y'all. Why'd you lose us?
Huh. Weird.
Hola, Darlene. Normally our first commenter.
Hello.
Oh, God, no, please. I'm just saying, look at the rest of the schedule. The only game we could drop is the Vikings. I don't see any other game the rest of the way being a droppable game. Like, it's the Bucks, the Panthers, the Bears. Like, it's as bad as it gets the rest of the way.
I like that he says, don't make me like love. You're not going to like love. You're going to love love.
I mean, I don't know. I keep saying I can't buy in because I bought in preseason. I bought in after the first 2 weeks of the season, and then it collapsed. And I'm like, all right, I saw what he is. But now I'm starting to be like, all right, he's starting to look comfortable. And I told Dot about it. We'll get to it when we get to the game, actually. We'll get to it when we get to the game because we gotta cover.
Yeah, we got a
so
lot.
I'm gonna start with college football because I need to get it off my chest because it's fucking aggravating me all day long. I didn't even enjoy the Packers win last night because I'm still mad about the fact that Florida State did everything they're supposed to do and they're not in. And look, I get it. I know. Florida State, maybe if their quarterback was playing, would be really exciting and everybody would want to watch them, and they'd probably get in. They would probably be in the 4 instead of Alabama, which would be crazy to think the SEC champion wouldn't be in. But that's why this is a stupid format. You have a Power 5 conference is what you call the 5. You call them Power 5, and you only let 4 into the playoffs. That alone just proves how stupid this format was. The NCAA is a bunch of dumb, inbred idiots. But So my big thing, and I don't like Greenberg. I do not like him. But he had comments today that I actually thought were really fucking good. And I don't watch him or listen to him. He just came up on my TikTok and I listened. And he said, imagine if the NFL season ends and regardless of your record, you don't know if you're in the playoffs. He said, say 13 former players, great players, decide who they think would make the most entertaining playoffs and put those teams in instead for the 14 teams that make it instead of the teams that most deserve it and did everything they're supposed to do. Because you always have the people who argue like the Eagles last year, regardless they made the Super Bowl. People were saying, oh, they weren't a real playoff team until they got to the Super Bowl. Then people accepted it because they were like, look how easy that schedule was and look how close some of those games were. So his argument was that what if at the end of the season – say somebody goes, say the Browns or Steelers, one of the two somehow make the playoffs. If there was a board overlooking it, they would be like, well, the quarterback play is not good enough, so we're going to put someone else in their place. Like the Chargers, where you could see Justin Herbert, and he would make ratings. And that's a very possible thing, something like the NCAA morons would do. And I feel like when you go undefeated, you're in the Power Five, because I know the Boise State argument years ago. I don't care about that argument anymore. Or Central Florida a few years ago, I think it was.
Yeah, UCF.
Yeah. But this is a Power 5 conference team. Went out, won all their games. Their quarterback breaks his leg. It's very sad that he breaks his leg. But then they win the next 3 games, including the conference championship game. And you you can't be in.
Unfortunately, I don't agree with you on this because I think they did I think the committee did the best they could with what they were given.
You can't have them top 4 the whole time. They win, and then you're like, but now you're not top 4. Like I don't fucking see any argument to how they can be like, you're not a top 4 team anymore, even though you kept winning and you were a top 4 team for the last 6 weeks. I don't see it.
Part of the selection is, and it's not Florida State's fault. They did what they needed to. It still wasn't enough. And
as Stephen A. Smith said, if Deion Sanders was coaching that Florida State team, they would put him in the fucking playoffs. And no one can tell me it'd be any different.
No,
the team would still be the same team.
That makes a whole hell of a lot of a difference.
Who the fuck gives a shit about the Texas Longhorns except for Texas fans?
Dude, this would be like when Cincinnati made it, right? If you put FSU in there with those other 3 teams, 3 of those, any other 4 teams, that first game, they're getting blown out.
That defense is legit.
Doesn't matter. They can't score points. I don't want to watch the Chargers Patriots game in the college football playoff.
I can guarantee you Alabama scores 10 points or less on January 1st.
But they could still beat Michigan that way.
Nah. No chance that team has a shot.
Michigan, if you look at if you look at every other team but Michigan, they can score explosively. Michigan can't.
Who the fuck does Alabama have scoring explosively?
They
have the worst quarterback of the 4 teams in the playoffs. They have arguably the best receiving core in the playoffs with no quarterback to throw on the ball. He's not great. J.J. Patterson's better.
The only team to beat him this year is in the playoff.
Yeah. Alabama was close in like 8 games. Like, I'm not saying they're a phenomenal team. They're the worst 4 of the 4. I don't have a problem with Texas being in because, they drop Oklahoma? I don't remember who they dropped to. They dropped to somebody dumb.
Yeah.
But I honestly, like I said on yesterday morning, if that game was closer in their conference championship, I would have probably been like, all right, Texas really ain't playoff worthy, but they just came out and flattened them.
Yeah.
Because they've had some ups and downs, and their loss was to a team that I don't even think finished ranked at the end of the season. Granted, the rankings at the end of the season. The NCAA is so fucking clever. The AP actually does the rankings. They think no one pays attention, but they threw Clemson back into the top 25 after the season ended. And I was like, no, they're not. No. They're a
No.
4-loss team. They're not a top 25 team, but they made sure they threw them back in. I don't know. Like I said, I understand the argument because there's a potential for lack of excitement in the game. But you can't tell a team you have to do all these things. They do every single step of the way, everything correct. And then you go, nah, fuck it. We're no longer top 5 or top 4. I guess they did give them 5th because Georgia wound up 6th. But I did think it was funny. Michigan actually was really upset when they saw that it was Alabama as the 4 instead of Florida State. There was a video in their locker room.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know if they were upset for the wrong reasons, but
I think Washington had a legitimate case to be number 1 with the teams they beat.
I do too, especially since they beat Oregon twice.
And Oregon was what, a 9-point favorite in that last one?
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's just straight disrespect. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think they had a very strong case to be the 1, but
like
they disrespect
Michigan outside of Ohio State. They didn't really have to beat anybody.
Yeah, Penn State, I think, is the only other ranked opponent they had to beat besides Iowa. But I mean, like you said when we were texting about it on Saturday, you can have a great defense, but when you can't move the football,
there was a bar that had was serving free beer until Iowa scored a point.
Yeah, I saw that. Serve free beer all night.
And then,
I mean,
the thing today was like, hey, we're not bankrupt.
You see, like you said, if you look at Washington's schedule, they had to beat Arizona in Arizona. Arizona finished the season ranked. Oregon, and then USC, Utah, Oregon State, Washington State, and then Oregon again in a row.
Yeah.
And stayed undefeated. Like, I just feel like but again, they don't respect the Pac-12. There's a reason all of them are coming over to the
and kind of the same way. They look, Florida State, the only person they had to beat was LSU in the beginning of the year, and Louisville. Those are their only 2 ranked opponents.
So their biggest argument against Florida State for me, this is the only reason I didn't post about my anger and like actually try and debate it with people, is that they had the 55th most difficult schedule in all of college football.
Right.
And Alabama had the 3rd most difficult. Texas had the 5th.
Yeah.
And Washington had the 2nd. Michigan was like 28th. Whatever. Yeah. I don't care. Michigan's Big Ten champion. You all are the Big Ten champion, just like the SEC champion. That's one of the reasons I said Alabama probably had to make it, was because I've never seen a conference like I've never seen them say, "Oh, we're not putting the SEC champion in the championship format." Like,
unfortunately, they were always going to be in no matter what because that moves the needle.
Yeah, and Texas got in because you beat Alabama,
right? So that, and then you have Washington and Michigan. So that's your 4. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can't touch it. It's just, I don't know. I'm frustrated for Florida State because I know they're a good team, and some people are like, Georgia's going to stop them.
If Georgia beats Alabama, FSU's in.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
You don't think Texas is still in?
Maybe, but it automatically puts Texas in if you put Alabama in. If you put Georgia in because they beat Alabama, then I think FSU is more likely to be in.
Yeah. People are saying Georgia's going to stomp FSU. I kind of hope they come out and win that game.
That'd be funny.
But the conference, I will say this, NCAA is not clever. I don't know what they're doing. But I looked at all the bowl games. Notre Dame's playing somebody I can't remember, somebody irrelevant, I think Oklahoma State or Oregon State. But I looked at the bowl games, and there's a couple that really jumped out at me, and obviously I'm a little maybe biased on what I was looking at. But Maryland, for some reason, is getting Auburn, which I don't know. Maybe they're even. I don't know. I didn't watch Auburn play football this year. Maybe they're even. But the one that really confused me was LSU finished the season ranked, and I think like in a pretty good spot, 15th or something, 13th, and they're playing fucking Wisconsin. who barely could win any football games all season, only got into bowl eligibility by 2 wins. And they're playing, and I'm like, I know they're just like, and I looked at it, and every Big Ten team is playing an SEC team in a bowl game, except for I think Penn State. I don't remember who Penn State's playing. But I was like, they're just trying to get clever. I'm like, Wisconsin has no right being in a game with LSU. It's going to be a beatdown. And it's one of the big ones. It's December 31st. It's the New Year's Eve game. And I was like, it's going to be ugly.
Ole Miss, Penn State, Auburn, Maryland, Georgia, Florida State, and Toledo, Wyoming are that night.
Toledo, Wyoming.
The 30th Sports Arizona Bowl, baby.
Wyoming, and
then you get Wisconsin, LSU, Oregon, and Liberty.
Yeah, I feel so bad for them. Poor Liberty, undefeated. Everybody's like, "Oh, good job, Liberty," and I'm like, "Yeah, now you're gonna get your ass kicked."
And then you get Iowa at Tennessee.
See, another Big Ten SEC game. But all right, anyway. I don't know. I had to go off on it. Fight Saturday, we already kind of talked about. Bobby Green got his head bounced off a mat way too much because the ref was blind. The other rest of the fights weren't that great.
The one I skipped was Notre Dame, Oregon State.
Oregon State. I knew it was Oklahoma State or Oregon State. I couldn't remember who it was. But nothing new on Ohtani yet. But a lot of teams flew out to LA to meet with him and his agent all weekend, which was very hush-hush, but it was tweeted about and confirmed. And the deal should be done before the end of December. So there is an Ohtani watch going on in the world. And it's funny because no one else is really signing. The Braves have made a few big trades, pretty damn big trades. But, no one else is really signing anybody right now. And I'm like, I feel like everybody's just waiting for the first big piece.
That's the first domino, right? Like, as soon as that happens, everybody's like, oh, our war chest is open. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, something was attempted to happen over the weekend. The Padres and Yankees were in conversation about Juan Soto. The Yankees were not willing to part with the pieces that the Padres have made their exclusively, their only way they would move Juan Soto were for certain prospects of the Yankees. The Yankees have turned it down. And now the Blue Jays have stepped in as the front runner to land Juan Soto. So that was the only other big baseball name going around, as Juan Soto is apparently getting traded. The Padres are trying to offload some of that ridiculous amount of money they're paying to all their players. He's also not great. He really, when he got out west, the problem is he's in a giant field. He was so good in Washington because Washington's field is not that big. Right. But when he got to San Diego, that field is massive. And his numbers just dropped a bit, and it's just simply because it's a pitcher's park. And then Blake Snell being the only other really big name technically. NL Cy Young winner, Blake Snell, has decided to not re-sign with the Padres and hasn't got a contract done, but he's born and raised in Seattle and just went to Seattle and told the Mariners, I want to play with you. Let's work out a deal. So he just straight up went there on his own and said, I want to play where my home team is. And even at the Seahawks game a couple weeks ago, he was bringing the doing whatever their thing is before the game. Oh, raising the 12 flag. They're making him feel real welcome there. So there's a chance that the NL Cy Young winner winds up with the Mariners. And I don't know. Mariners are getting pretty exciting if that happens, because that was the weakest thing is their pitching. We already saw what their hitting is with Julio Rodriguez. So, but all right, we got a lot of football. We actually got one out of the way yesterday by talking about Seahawks Cowboys. Thankfully, because there's a lot of injuries and a lot of big things to talk about. And right now the Bengals and Jags are playing. I meant to do a DraftKings lineup on today, but oh well.
We'll see how this game goes.
The first game we talked about was a shit show. Jets-Falcons. Falcons win.
Thanks to Jesse Bates.
Yeah, pretty much literally he is their best player on the entire roster, not even just the defense. He's just straight up their best player. But But this game was ugly, 13-8. The 8 was not a touchdown and 2-point conversion for those who didn't see it. It was a safety by the Jets in the first quarter and then 2 field goals. Desmond Ridder had his typical interception. No, he did not. I thought he turned the ball over.
I thought he threw one too.
No, apparently not. That's crazy. Maybe there's a penalty on it. I don't know.
I could have sworn there was one where they showed a highlight of an interception out the back of the end zone.
I don't even want to know what the cat did. Yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, stats don't say it. 12 of 27 though, so fairly far under 50%. With like 46, I think 45 percent completion percentage. So that's great. And then they benched Tim Boyle after the first half. Put in Simeon. Simeon didn't look great. So the big news out of this game is that they now have gone back to Zach Wilson to ask him if he would start. Asked him, which I thought was interesting. Yesterday, Zach said he wasn't sure about it, but Robert Saleh today came out and said after talking to Zach, Zach is ready to get back in there. So,
yeah, there was that whole Atlantic article saying like he was possibly didn't want to play, and Salah came out and kind of shot that down and said, "Look, if he didn't want to play, he wouldn't be on this team."
Yeah, like I understand why he wouldn't want to jump right back in though. Like part of me's like, I mean, your confidence is probably fucking zero with how much they've benched you and then started you and then benched you. So like, I get it, but you know, your only way you're going to get better or even have a shot at being a backup in this league is just go out.
It's too bad the trade deadline's gone. You could swap him and Mac Jones from teams. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm surprised this defense isn't just rioting right now. Like,
yeah, so you texted me about that yesterday, and I don't know how many of you actually spent any time watching Jets Falcons, but there was a couple plays where DJ Reed was like trying to get he was literally getting in people's faces and starting things and starting pushing. He got a personal foul at one point for getting too fucking violent after a play. Like, I feel like the frustration is seriously boiling on the defensive side of this ball, and obviously it should. They're doing everything. Like, they're not getting blown out in any games because this team is fucking playing so well defensively. They're helping this offense have a hope, but the offense can't do anything. And I was going to ask you, the fuck is going on with Breece Hall?
I
10 of 13? Like 10 rushes for 13 yards yesterday? I was like, what is happening? Or no, 13 for 16. Sorry, that's not any better.
I mean, he's just when he's the only thing you have to defend.
Yeah,
literally, he is the only thing you have to defend. Like you don't have to. You don't even have to defend the pass
on fourth down
because the passes aren't going downfield.
No,
so you just play it like it's a run, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Breece Hall, but I mean, again, like you said, he's the only thing you have to defend. But I mean, we've seen running backs in formations we've seen running backs in teams where they're still the only player you have to worry about and still do better than this. This has been really bad.
And that's what I mean. Is the offense playing so poorly that it becomes like a cancerous thing, right?
That's what I mean. That's a good argument. That's just maybe how bad the offensive line really is. I mean, they 4 more sacks yesterday.
They really need to invest in that offensive line if they think that Rodgers is going to be able to do anything for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so funny. Like, they got that 2 or 3 game winning streak, and we were all like, oh, the Jets might make a little bit of a run. And then now we're like, they can't do anything on offense. They literally can't score points.
No. Well, I guess they score a little bit more than the Patriots, but.
They're right in between the Panthers and the Patriots. They're right in between it. Now, on the other side, AJ Terrell out with a concussion. From what I'm understanding, it was a pretty bad concussion. So there's a good chance he doesn't play this week for the Falcons, which is a shame. Their best corner. Their backup corner did okay. It's kind of easy to do okay against the Jets, though, so I'm not getting that excited.
Right.
And I don't know. They've got a quarterback problem. Heineke wasn't it after the 2 games. They decided to go into Ritter after Heineke got hurt, and now Ritter, 12 of 27. If you can't get 50%, I don't know what to tell you.
I have a thought here. This may be where Justin Fields lands.
A lot of people think that Atlanta's the best spot for him, and I have a hard time arguing against it.
It would kind of make sense, right? When you look around the league, it kind of fits. He's not the greatest thrower of the ball, but he'd have weapons there. That team is structurally better than the Bears are currently.
And I think Arthur Smith's the kind of coach he needs, where he can just kind of like let him do whatever, I guess, because Arthur Smith doesn't seem to have any game plan for any game. So,
well, that would be great, right? Like he would be like, okay, what's Justin Fields good at? Well, he's hyper athletic and kind of only throws the ball semi-well. Well, he's going to throw the ball 40 times a game now.
Yeah, Arthur Smith would make sure he throws a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
He would not be allowed to run.
Yeah.
He would run on the field and tackle him if he starts running.
And you and Bijan can't be on the field at the same time. And yeah.
What happened?
I wasn't even paying attention, so I don't know.
Oh, it's his groin. It was a regular catch, and when he caught the ball, he just immediately grabbed his groin area.
Who was this?
Christian Kirk.
Oh.
And it's bad enough that they're taking a while because Trevor Lawrence is on a knee with his helmet off. So,
ooh.
But anyway, Falcons-Jets was a nightmare, as we expected. I thought the Falcons would look a little better, but that's on me. My bad. The craziest thing ever, though, about this game, the Falcons are now 2 games up in their division.
Right. It's like, what the hell?
Speaking of which, they host the Bucs this weekend.
Sorry, I'm just watching this replay.
You're good. And then the Jets, their next game is the Texans this weekend.
Oh, boy.
A nightmare. All right. Man, we went from the Jets. I'm sorry, guys. We try to get entertaining. We started with the Jets and Falcons, and I hate to tell you what the fuck's next, but it's the 6-0 Patriots-Chargers. Chargers win 6-0. Justin Herbert, you talked about Emmanuel Acho. I didn't watch his show today. I can't imagine what the fuck he said today.
Hey, listen, I watched this game, and then I was on Arizona watch because we just moved up a draft position. But yes,
I had a friend.
Having a good day.
I had a friend when I was talking about this game on Facebook. I was talking about how the Patriots are the first team in NFL history to lose since 1938.
Yeah.
So, basically NFL history. To lose 3 consecutive games to a team not scoring more than 10 points. Because if you guys didn't know, they lost to the Colts 10-6, then had their bye week, and then lost to the Giants 10-7, and now lost 6-0. And I was talking about how both Bills need to go. I'm a big Bill O'Brien fan, but there's no offense here. His claim is that they're not actually putting any effort in. They're just throwing. And I have a hard time picturing Bill Belichick being the type of guy to throw.
I don't know. Did you hear the offensive lineman after the Indy game?
No.
I can't remember, but he went over to hug somebody, and he's like, "Good win. Good thing we're ass." Like he kind of just put it out there, like, yeah, we're intentionally this way. But at the same time, Are they? How do you believe that? They aren't. They still have a Bill Belichick defense, obviously.
Yeah.
So you can't tell. I mean, what did they? They lost to the Colts. Who did they lose to on the missed field goal?
The Giants.
The Giants. Yes. Like, okay, you had a chance to send that to OT, but you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Ramondre Stevenson gets hurt in this game.
Oh yeah, their only shining light on offense is now gone.
I don't know.
It's a race to the bottom at this point.
Devontae Parker had his first good game as a Patriot.
He'll probably come up lame next game.
But I gotta say, I'm concerned about the Chargers.
I'm not, because from what I keep hearing, Harbaugh loves talking about Justin Herbert right now.
I mean, look, if they win, they can't win any more games. They need to be out.
The Chargers?
Yeah.
I mean,
thankfully they're not in the NFC because they'd only be a game out of the playoffs with how bad the NFC is. There's 4 teams tied at 6-6 in the NFC in the 7th spot.
Yeah. Fine.
But the Chargers are 5-7 after this game. I don't think they lost anyone in this game that I can think of to injury. Khalil Mack had a great game again. He's now tied for the league in sacks or ahead of the league. I don't know. I don't know if Daniil Hunter didn't play this week. So, yeah, I think he passed Daniil Hunter. Because he had a bye. The Chargers' next game is the Broncos this coming Sunday. I don't think that'll be that close. I actually don't know. By the way, real quick, since we just had bye week hell for all of those about to enter their fantasy playoffs, the final 2 bye weeks of this coming week, it's just Arizona and Washington, so you're not really missing anyone important. Trey McBride being the only really important player. So that's good for everybody. And unfortunately for everyone, and again, I'm sorry, the Patriots play the Steelers on Thursday Night Football.
What a game.
The Mitch Trubisky-led Steelers.
Yes.
Which we will jump into in a couple minutes. All right, our next one was actually an entertaining game. The Detroit Lions beat the Saints 33-28, breaking my upset of the week pick. At first, I thought the upset of the week was over because it started 21-0.
Yeah, it got interesting down the stretch.
But the Lions did what they do and can't ever just put a team away and let a team fight the entire game. Now, I don't really know what there is to talk about in this game except for the young guys did their job. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams scored a touchdown on the ground. Like everybody, all the young youth players of the Lions. Brian Branch had a pick. The big thing for me to talk about in this game is Derek Carr getting booed every time he came back on the field after Taysom Hill was subbed in. I find that real interesting.
Are they wrong for that?
I don't know. Winston was 2 for 5 in his stead. Taysom Hill's not a good thrower of the football, so I have a hard time saying they're really better off without Derek Carr. Like Taysom Hill was 0 for 2. I know it's only 2 throws, so whatever. But he's going to be out, I think. I don't know what his injury is besides a concussion, but Derek Carr has a concussion. I don't know. I love Taysom Hill in the running back position. I think he's the best running back on the Saints. No offense to Alvin Kamara. Taysom Hill is a absolute monster running the football. But I have a hard time. Evan Engram touchdown, by the way, 7-0 Jags for those who are watching us and trying to keep a score eye on both. Never mind, not an Evan Engram touchdown. It was ETN.
ETN.
Yeah. They showed Engram afterward, like on the sideline, and I just assumed. But no, he made the block to seal the edge. I don't know. Chris Olave had a great game. Detroit Lions still have no secondary, so I do have concerns for them moving forward. But Sam Laporta, I can't imagine how happy you were with your fantasy team. With just him and Tyreek Hill probably won you a fucking game. Just those two alone.
Yeah, don't forget I also had CeeDee Lamb.
I don't remember what he did on Thursday.
34.1.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. The Lions are going to keep winning football games. They're 9-3 for the first time since like 1962.
I was going to say they tied last year's wins already.
Yeah. The Lions get to go visit the Chicago Bears this Sunday. I'm not going to say it's an open and close game because they played the Bears 3 weeks ago and should have lost to the Bears. The Bears just on 2 4th downs on the Lions side of the field failed both times when only trailing by 3, and they could have kicked a field goal. So that'll be an interesting game. It's in Chicago. Who knows? There might be weather. They're saying it's only going to be 40 degrees, so there could be snow. It could be, I don't know. You never know. And then the Saints host the Panthers. I want to say it'll be a good game for the Saints, but probably not. I have no idea.
I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah. Dennis Allen's job is gone. I'm convinced that guy is gone. I don't know. You have anything else for this to add before I go find another game?
That was another kind of just, Detroit's fun to talk about, but the Saints,
We got this wrong preseason. We got this wrong yesterday. Steelers lose 24-10. I told you during the game, right before our picks, I said, man, I'm really thinking about Arizona. And then.
Yep. Then I texted you about it. I was like, oh, it's really going to happen.
James Conner had a hell of a homecoming.
Yes, sir.
105 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. I thought he had a catchy one, but no. Trey McBride is legit. He is a real deal. Next season, it'll be interesting to see where he gets put in the tight end category, especially with the slowing down of Kelsey. Mark Andrews kind of slowing down this season for some reason. Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Trey McBride and Sam Laporta next year in fantasy football.
Because didn't they just them and Ertz agreed to part ways? Yeah,
they don't need him, and he's been hurt all season.
Right, so they basically told him to go find a team.
I mean, he can go right back to Philly if he really wants. They're still waiting for Goddard to come back. There's a lot of laundry on the field. Come on, man. The return was to the 48. Let the Bengals have it. They're poor little Bengals. Holding on the receiving team. Damn it. Anyway, Kyler, 13 of 23, 145 yards and a touchdown. His stats actually make it look like it was a double XP weekend, but it was not. He was the only unimpressive thing for me for Arizona. Their defense was freaking all over the field. I was really impressed by what I saw out of the defense. But Kyler was still just Kyler. So the big news out of this game is Kenny Pickett was 7 of 10 for 70 yards. And then on a quarterback sneak, I don't know what happened. His foot or his ankle? He already had surgery.
It was an ankle, yeah.
And he's already had surgery. He'll be out for, I think they said, up to 4 weeks. I guess they're assuming if they make the playoffs, they might want him back. Otherwise, if you're not in it, don't bother. Don't put him in for the final week of the season if you're not in the playoffs because you don't want to risk him getting hurt again. You disagree?
No, sorry. I was paying attention to something else real quick.
But Trubisky in his stead was 11 for 17, 117 yards and a touchdown. Wasn't disappointed from what I saw out of Trubisky.
I mean, we all kind of know what we're going to get out of him, right?
Yeah, and as soon as he came in the game, he immediately found Deontay Johnson twice on the very first 2 throws. So I think we know who his comfort choice is.
Right.
So it'll be interesting moving forward. Like we said, they play the Patriots this Thursday, sorry. So Trubisky will have to be the quarterback for the next few weeks. Now, Watt got hurt in this game, then came back in the game, and then got held on the final play of the game, which he's making a really big deal out of, like it was going to make a decision. It was 24-10. The play that got him hurt, he was held. Sorry. That's what it was. And there was no flag, and Watt came out and said he feels like somebody in the front office of the NFL doesn't like him. And that's why he doesn't get calls in his favor when he gets held. And I thought that was a little dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, once again, NFL reffing is becoming like a large part of the conversation, and it's just like, you know what they're like. There's holding on every play. There's pass interference on every play. If you want to really be, if you want to
If you
play
follow
it
it by the written rule, yeah.
So
100%.
it's they only call them when they're subjectively bad, essentially. So I get it. I get why he would be frustrated, but at the same time, it's like, you're going to get held on most plays. So
yeah, I don't know. I just think it's weird to say that I think someone in the front office is targeting me. I'm like, all right, bro. Sounds a little bit too paranoid for me, but
yeah, maybe he took a hard shot that game,
Yeah, or he's hanging out with Joe Rogan taking horse tranquilizers to help COVID. I don't know.
Hey, listen. Whatever makes you believe and gets you through it, The Flat Earth Society has members all around the globe. Remember that.
All around.
Birds aren't real, so.
No, they're government spy planes.
Yeah, if it flies, it spies. All right.
The positive news for the Steelers with Pickett being out is that Najee Harris and Jalen Warren both looked really good in this game. So they're starting to get really good help out of the running backs, and now we'll have to see what Trubisky is against the Patriots. I don't know. The Steelers should win that game, but I don't know. Thursday Night Football. Just be really excited for Thursday Night Football. Patriots, Steelers, you can't get any better. It's the fucking sucky thing is, if this was in 19-something, not 19-something. If this was 2005, this would be exciting as hell. Or 2008.
Yeah, Big Ben, Tom Brady.
Yeah, but now we're Mitch Trubisky and I don't know, Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones. I don't know if
it'll probably be Zappi. I mean,
I don't know what's going forward anymore.
Maybe we'll ask Mac Jones to play quarterback, and he'll say he doesn't want to.
Bill would cut you immediately. You wouldn't even get out of the building. You would just fucking be dead. All right, next one's going to be real fast, real easy. Dolphins win 45-14 or 15 or some low bullshit score, 45-15.
Yeah, I was wondering what the strategy by Washington was not covering Tyreek Hill.
It was an interesting, you know what, as Jason Bateman says in Dodgeball, it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Because, it literally looked like they were like, you know what, let him do what he does.
Yeah, we'll take care of Jalen Waddle. That's all we have to do is stop one of these guys. And I'm like, even if that's true, you stopped the wrong guy. Should I trade Kincaid? And said no. I don't. It depends on your tight end situation. It really does. If you're fine at tight end, maybe, because Olave continues to dominate, even with Derek Carr company at quarterback. But Kincaid is only getting more and more targets by the week, and that's no good. So 7-0 still. And Sutton, I don't know. I still think Sutton has value, but Olave has way more value. It's just like I said, it depends on your tight end. Because I don't know any tight ends right now except for Sam Laporta and Trey McBride that are really guarantees every week right now.
Getting points.
But if you let us know who that tight end is, we'll help you out there. But I really like Dalton Kincaid. And Cortland Sutton hasn't been terrible.
Yeah, and I feel like they're playing well enough where Sutton has value still.
Yeah. It's a 2 tight end league. Oh, boy. Okay, well, I don't like Logan Thomas in the slightest. Let me rephrase. The Commanders don't like Logan Thomas.
Sam Howell would rather get sacked to throw to his tight end.
Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill has high value, especially since you get to use him as a tight end. I don't know what Likely is going to be like the rest of the season. I still don't know, even though he has to be my guy because I had Mark Andrews. If you feel comfortable with Likely, and you feel – what is your receiver room like? Like, are you desperately needing one of the big scores? Because Olave will outscore Sutton, but it's only by about 5-6 points. So, like, unless you really need an uptick at receiver, I just don't see a purpose for the trade. Because Kincaid is better than Likely, and everybody's better than Logan Thomas because he plays for the Commanders, who literally only threw to like 5 people this weekend, and I've never heard of one of them. Cole Turner, the other tight end. Pretty much just upgrading Sutton to Olave.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it at tight end too, like outside of the guys you said, the point spread is so minuscule, doesn't matter.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time right now. I'm looking at it. Kincaid gets the Chiefs this week, which isn't great. The Cowboys the following week, which isn't great. Then the Chargers and Patriots for the final 2 weeks of fantasy season, which are good matchups. Let me look at who Sutton gets. Sutton gets the Chargers this week, so that's a favorable matchup. The Lions next week, that's a favorable matchup. The Patriots, he could have a decent game. I can't do it. I like Sutton's matchups the next 2 weeks way too much. I'm amazed he would do Olave over Pittman.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
Olave is the one. Pittman battles between being the one or being behind Downs and Pierce, and it's all over the place. But I'm not that guy, so I couldn't tell you. I personally, it's a close deal, but I still wouldn't do it. Sutton gets the charge. Like I said, Sutton against the Chargers probably gets 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown this weekend. And then against the Lions, he could really go off because the Lions secondary is terrible. That's going to be a shootout, to be honest. Well, actually, maybe not. It might be a ground-out game because both teams suck against the run, and both teams love to run the ball. But Sutton's still going to get a touchdown. I mean, he gets a touchdown every week. He's their guy.
Right.
He is Russell Wilson's only trusted target. So I have a hard time moving Sutton. I originally said it was Kincaid, the reason I wouldn't have done it, but Kincaid's schedule is really ugly the next few weeks, so I don't think you're losing too much with Kincaid. But I don't know. Let me look at Olave, because you also have to remember Derek Carr might not play. He has a concussion. Derek Carr might be out moving forward. They get the Panthers this week, who have the 4th-ranked pass defense in the NFL. And then they get the Giants. That's an easy one. The Bucks and the Rams. They're all easy. Did not help me. That made it more complicated. What?
I don't.
I still can't do it.
I mean, I can see it either way. I don't know how big of a benefit the change is.
I just feel like Taysom Hill and Kincaid is at tight end is way better than Taysom Hill and Likely. What about JT and Kincaid for Jacobs? Or JT and Waddle for Evans? I don't mind Kincaid and JT for Jacobs. I wouldn't.
Yeah, these are also like tight.
Evans gets the Falcons' pass defense this week, then Jair Alexander in 2 weeks because he'll finally be healthy. The Jags and the Saints. So Evans doesn't have a great upcoming schedule, so I would probably stay away from that. But Jacobs, I feel like if I remember correctly, Jacobs has a really nice end of the year. He's also been a beast since they've gone to the new coach, since Antonio Pierce came in and said, we're going with the ground game. He's been a beast. So Jacobs gets Minnesota, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Colts. Yeah, I would do that deal.
Yeah.
Jacobs is too good to finish out the season. I would take Jacobs. And Jonathan Taylor's a really big injury risk right now.
Did he? He didn't even play this week, did he?
No, he did not.
So, yeah. I mean, if you can move him, move him.
Yeah. I think Jacobs is going to have a hell of an end of the season.
Yeah, that's probably the best move right there. JT and Kincaid for Jacobs.
Yeah. Anyway, Terry McLaurin's comments about this game were the only reason I found this game entertaining. The fact that he said he just went out and did a lot of cardio because he never got targeted. I mean, he was playing against Jalen Ramsey, so maybe that's why. I don't know. I can't speak for what Sam Howell saw. I don't know if Sam Howell knows what he sees when he goes out there.
Yeah, but I mean, when has Sam Howell this season been shy to throw the ball to the other team? So I don't know why that Jalen Ramsey thing would come into your head, because obviously Howell is fine throwing it to the other team.
Yeah, man's got 14 picks on the season. They did lose Brian Robinson in this game to a hamstring injury. Not that changed the result of the game, but it might change the result of Commanders games going forward, depending how severe. Nothing announced yet on how severe it is, but it's a big deal for them because he has been a beast. I mean, he's been a top 6 running back this season, so it is interesting to keep an eye on. The Dolphins just did Dolphin things against teams with losing records. It's disgusting. Tyreek Hill easily could hit 2,000 yards. Like, it's not out of the picture at this point. Anyway, unfortunately for all of us, the Dolphins play Monday Night Football against the Titans, so we'll just get to watch more Tyreek Hill and A-Chain and Mostert go up and down a field. That's the Dolphins' next game. And the Commanders' next game, they are one of the 2 bye week teams. So when they come back from bye, they visit the LA Rams. I'm not even sure what to make of that game yet, but that's 2 weeks away. The next one, man, we had some bad games to talk about today. Panthers lose to the Bucs 21-18.
I was hoping the Panthers could pull this one off.
I was too. Even though we both picked the Bucs, I was too. No, wait, I picked the Panthers because I'm retarded. Chuba Hubbard had a good game, which is not easy to do against the Bucs run defense. Vita Vea is a massive human being.
Yeah.
Thielen was, again, bad. I'm starting to think something's going on there.
It just makes no sense.
Bryce Young was under 50% completion percentage, had a pick, no touchdowns. I'm starting to say a little bit in my head that he is not an NFL caliber quarterback. I know it's early still because it's not a first full season, but I'm still not seeing any improvement. As you've said before, improvement, man. Just show signs of improvement. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, but again, this is kind of like the Mac Jones thing. You know, there's how much can he do with what he has?
Yeah. I'll give him credit, though. He's starting to get the ball to Mingo, which is big. I think it's good that they build a relationship moving forward, being the 2 rookie receiver and quarterback. But I don't know. Carolina's just going to they're going to hand the Bears Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams goes to the draft, who knows? He said it's going to be a game-time decision. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. What makes it weird is NIL money, right? Like, when you go to the NFL now, you're going to be making less money than you were there.
Yeah, USC's still a year away from the Big Ten, I think, if I remember correctly. They might not be. I don't remember what year they're coming.
I thought it was 2024.
Oh, it is. Yeah, they're joining Washington and Oregon year 1. That's right. So, I like you said, he can make so much staying, but it comes down to how much does he value playing for a losing effort in college. Like, because if he gets a serious injury, he hurts his stock, and the USC's not a contender. Next year, they're not a fucking top 10 team. That defense is too abysmal. They're going to get exposed by Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon and Washington. Or USC is still not a great team. So I'm like, do you want to go to the NFL and chase your dream and make a little bit less money? Or do you want to stay at USC, make more money, and potentially hurt your stock? But, like, at the same time, that class the following season, he is the only quarterback.
Right.
Like, there's nobody worth talking about in the next class at quarterback right now. This class has everybody. So, like, it's real interesting because, like, I wouldn't want to go to Chicago. They can't run a franchise. They're terrible at it.
Yeah.
So part of me's like, just take the risk, stay at USC another season, and come next year, you probably won't be at Chicago because they're only there because of the Panthers pick. They're not going to have that again next season. So, like, you'll have if I had to look at the teams right now in the league, it would probably be the Panthers. I don't know. I don't know who else would be that bad.
After next year?
Yeah. I just can't think of anyone else.
Maybe the Cardinals?
Maybe. Depending on what they do with Kyler. Again, I don't – they just won themselves into another situation. I don't know. But anyway, that was Panthers stuff. I know. I'm just rambling. Bucks, Panthers was boring as hell. Baker Mayfield was still just about as average as he can be. Under 50% completion percentage again.
But Mike Evans does what Mike Evans does.
I was about to say the one big takeaway, besides Rachaad White almost having 100 yards again, Mike Evans didn't even need a full season, 1,000 yards, 10th time in a row. First player to ever do it, 10 consecutive seasons off the rip of a career.
And there's only one other person that's done it.
Yeah, that's,
Jerry Rice.
Yep, 14 times. Which, to be honest, Mike Evans stays in the league, he might be able to do it. Like if he stays,
he did it with Baker as his quarterback too. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, and a plethora of terrible quarterbacks before Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the years he's on this list, he had 1,001 yards. I was like, "You did it!"
Woo, got there.
But anyway, I don't know. This game was bad. The Panthers are bad. The Bucks, I don't know. They're 5-7. They're actually only a game behind the Falcons. I thought they were 2. They're a game behind the Falcons. I don't know how that's possible. But the big news is Mike Evans. I was really happy for him. Bucks this week, we already said get the Falcons. And guess what would be a division battle for the lead? Yeah. I just watched Joe Mixon score a touchdown. I thought you forgot how to do that. And then Carolina gets the Saints.
In another barn burner of a game.
These games are getting really bad.
I just don't. I mean, I get it. You're gonna have bad games. I just feel like we have more and more every week.
I know.
It's like the good teams get much better, and the bad teams just get worse.
Part of me feels there's something with the way they're allowed to structure these contracts, and it's kind of getting close to what baseball has with no salary cap, where it's just the best 6 teams. I'm not saying it's there yet, but it's starting to feel like if you're not one of the elite teams with these big players making these deals to like guarantee contracts and pay them out, or certain parts paid out where you don't have to count against the cap, the way these teams are doing it, it's making like there's so many more bad teams. And like, yeah, there's a lot of 6-6 teams, but a lot of them are really fucking bad 6-6 teams.
Yeah, like you look at the standings and you're like, okay, who's good, right?
Like, in what world are the Colts 7-6 or 7-5? Sorry, that's
without
even worse.
Richardson,
right?
Pittsburgh 7-5.
It's just I don't.
Cleveland 7-5.
Speaking of Colts, that's the next one. Colts win 31-28. Derrick Henry leaves the game due to a concussion. Tajay Spears has a pretty decent game in his stead. Derrick Henry was having a hell of a game beforehand. Had 102 yards before leaving the game. I don't know. It was actually a fairly entertaining game. I actually really enjoyed this Titans-Colts game. You had some energy in it. Will Levis getting chippy with DeAndre Hopkins. Thought that was pretty good. Thought it was pretty good to see the rookie quarterback saying, I don't care how great you are. You're a future Hall of Famer. I still want you to run that route. Like DeAndre slowed up because he thought the ball was overthrown, and Will Levis let him know he was upset about it. He just wanted to see him put full effort into it. I'm all right with that.
Yeah. I mean, and he connected with D-Hop later.
Yep. Diop had a pretty good game. I think he was the only good Titans receiver besides Chiggy Okonkwo. He was indeed.
Yep.
Everyone else only had one catch, except for Tajay Spears, who had 4 catches, but that was for 12 yards. And on the flip side, Gardner Minshew had a really good game. He continues to make me feel like he's better than a few starters in the league. Mr. Minshew.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked pretty good in this game. No Jonathan Taylor. This game went to overtime. For those who didn't know, this game went to overtime. The punter for the Titans got hurt, Ryan Stonehouse. The Colts blocked back-to-back punts, which is just crazy. Zach Moss got
yeah. So they blocked the back-to-back punts. Tennessee fired their special teams coordinator today.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Did you see his leg? Their punter's
the
leg? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was rough.
So Tannehill was the holder, which was a big deal, apparently, because they think that's why they missed the extra point and potentially would have won the game with that one extra point because it went to overtime.
Yeah.
But in the end, the real reason the Titans lost the game is because they let Alec Pierce get open for 2 50-yard bombs. I mean, literally a 52-yarder and a 55-yarder. Both of them just gashed this team. One of them was in overtime, and he got down at the 2-yard line. And then they threw the touchdown winner to Michael Pittman. I don't know. The Colts are 7-5 and in the playoffs. I don't fucking know.
Whatever, man. Like, at least this season's kind of unpredictable.
I don't know what to say about the Colts. Like, they're not like a legit. Like, I wouldn't go if they play Miami or if they play Kansas City. I'm not going to be like, or Jacksonville. I'm not going to be like, Colts have a shot here. Like, I just don't feel it. But right now they're doing what they have to do. They're beating everybody they should beat.
Yeah, and they might get beat by the better team. Oh, well.
I'm impressed by what I've seen out of them, especially with a first-year head coach. The rookie quarterback was the starter. Richardson's not even playing. Jonathan Taylor's been in and out of the lineup. And they still keep winning games. They've cut their best defensive player besides Zaire Franklin. Their second best defensive player, and they keep winning football games. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's confusing as hell. But good job to the Colts.
That is an Irsay ran franchise, man. That's cocaine-fueled logic right there.
Exactly, and they could play the Bengals this coming week, so it's possibly another win. There's a chance in reality the Colts are 8-5 at the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
And then the Titans go visit Miami on Monday Night Football. In a doubleheader on Monday Night Football, by the way.
And the Titans are 0-6 on the road.
Yeah. Nah, they're a bad team. And if they don't have Derrick Henry in this game, it's going to get real ugly against Miami.
Did you see the hit he took?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was out cold.
Yeah. No, I don't.
His hands were all postured.
Yep. I don't have high expectations he's returning, but you never know. Human bodies are weird. I guess we just have to wait and see how the week goes for him. But the next one, Texans Broncos. You texted me multiple times that you're regretting this decision.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know about this.
Russ decided to look like Russ of last season through 3 interceptions. Got his touchdown to Cortland Sutton. The ground game wasn't great, to say the least. Russell had 10 rushes, though. I'll give him credit. I mean, the guy's running.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, the really bad news about this game, Houston wins the game. I'm happy for him. Dameon Pierce found his way back into an end zone. CJ Stroud still looks fucking incredible, and Nico Collins almost had 200 yards, 191 yards in this game. But the really bad news, actually there's 2 really bad news, is Pat Surtain got hurt, which is why Nico Collins probably had the game he had. And then the real sad one, which I don't want to blame the coordinator, but the offensive coordinator should be probably a little bit like furious with himself for his own decisions. Tank Dell breaks his fibula. And the reason I say he should be upset with himself is it was a goal line formation, and he had Tank Dell on the line playing a position of one of the tight ends as a blocker. And the reason I have a problem with that is Tank Dell is a 5'10", 172-pound wide receiver.
Right.
He's not the guy you have in the middle of a scrum on the offensive line blocking for a run play up the middle. It's just not – it's not what you do. And, like, there's other people you could have had there, and I'm not saying it was a good idea, but, like, Nico Collins is a big dude. He's 200-something pounds. He's 6'2". Like, if you're going to use a receiver, you don't use your smallest receiver as a middle of the line.
But that's the head game we play, you know? That's the gamesmanship.
Yeah, because you never know. You know, you could get the quote unquote reverse with him being up there on the line like that. But I was just like, man, of all the places for Tank to be, I was like, that's not it. I hate it, not just because he's on all of my fantasy teams. I fucking love Tank Dell. I talked about it last week. The going straight into the Houston front office when they were doing a meeting with you after the combine and saying, I grew up in Houston. I played at the University of Houston. It would be a mistake not to bring me here. I want to play for the Texans. Like that just type of confidence in yourself makes me love you, especially when you come out and back it up with a rookie quarterback throwing you the ball. Thought it was cool. CJ Stroud said he is my brother. I love him till the end, and I'll be here if he needs anything. Let me know, and I'll be there for him. I thought that was classy by CJ. But it was a good game. At first it was all Houston, but Denver came back into this game and made it close. And I thought it was good for Denver to show that even with Russell Wilson turning the ball over 3 times, they could still keep competitive in this game.
Oh yeah, that's their formula, right? Limit what Russ does, and you have a shot at winning the game.
Yeah.
Let him cook, and here's what happens.
Yep. But I'm happy as hell Houston wins. They're still not in the playoff picture because they have a 1-2 division record. So the Colts are the team above them in this playoff spot because of the division record, because the Colts are 2-1 in their division. But Houston moves to 7-5 and get to play the Jets in New York this weekend, which should be an easy game for the Houston Texans. And the Broncos go visit the Chargers in what they need to make a good get-right game, because if they lose it, they might fall out of the playoff shot at 6-7 with a loss. So, they need to pick up that win. All right. Browns. No, wait. Yeah, Browns-Rams. This is the next one.
Joey Flacco, huh?
Yeah, minus that pick at the end of the game. I actually was really impressed by Joe Flacco in this game.
I was too.
He actually looked he looked poised. And the weird thing he was doing, he actually scrambled a little. Not for rushes, but like he got out of the pocket and laterally. He went horizontally across the field, made some nice little throws. And I was like, all right, Joe.
Yeah, I think I think that was a smart move by them.
Yeah, it does make me curious, though, with DTR. If he comes back, who do you rather have? I'd rather have Joe.
I'd probably stick with Joe if Joe's at least helping you score points, because otherwise you're totally reliant on your defense, which they were anyways. But
yeah, but Joe, I mean, like I said, besides that pick, Joe actually looked great the whole game. And then that pick was really bad. I mean, he was trying to get it to Elijah Moore. He just didn't get enough arm strength behind it. I get it. Speaking of which, if you're in fantasy and you're hurting really bad at wide receiver, everybody might want to listen to this. Elijah Moore is probably a really good pickup if Joe stays the quarterback. They work together with the Jets, and you saw the connection this week. He targeted Elijah Moore 12 times in this game.
Right.
So Elijah Moore is going to see a lot of targets with Joe Flacco at quarterback because they have a connection and they have a friendship. So good move going forward for anyone in fantasy. But the Browns, I thought they looked all right. Their defense had their first really bad game, and it just cost.
You're good for one of those, though. I mean, everybody throws a stinker.
Every team has a bad game, and the Browns defense finally had theirs.
I mean, Dallas gave up, 35 to a Seattle team that couldn't score touchdowns the past 2 weeks?
The past, month.
Yeah, so it happens.
Yeah, but Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, some guy I've never knew that was part of this team, Demarcus Robinson, showed up. Cooper Kupp had that late touchdown because he was invisible until then. Matt Stafford just looked really fucking good. The offensive line was perfect. No sacks against the Browns. That might be the best stat for the Rams in this game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't let the Rams of all teams didn't let Myles Garrett and company get to your quarterback, who's not a mobile quarterback. That's a really good game for the Rams offensive line. They should be very proud of themselves going into whatever they play next week. They're also now a playoff contender. They're 6-6. I don't know. I'm not saying they're not good enough. They have enough offensive pieces. Their defense isn't great, but you've seen it. Their offense can just explode. So I don't know. Yeah. They might be a contender. I mean, it's hard because in the NFC, I say the NFC is really bad, but in the NFC, besides the NFC South, everybody's good outside of the wild card teams in the South. Like, because if you look at it, the Cowboys hold a wild card spot. They're better than the Rams. They're better than a lot of the teams in the playoff hunt. And there's one other team that shouldn't really be a negative. Hold on, I gotta look at
which conference are you talking about? In the Rams?
Oh no, okay, so it is too bad. Minnesota being a playoff team right now is not great.
Yeah,
but I mean, like the Rams could get in because it's right now they're 6-6. They're outside of the playoffs because of, I think, division record. But like they're 6-6 along with the Vikings, the Packers, and the Seahawks. So I mean, anything can happen for them. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to play that offense in the playoffs. No. The defense is very beatable, but you wouldn't want to try and stop Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp with Matt Stafford throwing the ball.
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but the Rams have a little bit of life. And the Browns, I think their best version of life is with Joe Flacco moving forward, but we'll have to see. I guess they already answered the question. The Browns have put Joe Flacco back on the practice squad today.
Really?
Don't like it. I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
Browns host the Jags this coming weekend. So I feel like I would rather have Joe against the Jags. But
I feel like you got a better shot against them with Joe for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to make a poll on Facebook and see how that goes, see what people think. Practice squad, though, means he's claimable. I wonder if the Jets would consider to reunite. No, because they already told Zach he's going to start, I guess.
I mean, we could break his heart one more time, right? Like, come on now.
Yeah. Or the Giants, even. Like,
I think the Giants.
Tommy DeVito's been all right.
I was going to say, I think they like Danny DeVito there, so they're good.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito's been all right. I keep thinking he's bad, but his stats are actually pretty okay. I don't know. I liked what Joe's did, so I just am having a hard time picturing him being on a practice squad again. But oh well. The Rams get the Ravens this weekend, by the way, in Baltimore. So it'll be interesting. Can the Ravens defense stop all of those weapons? I'm curious. Well, we'll find out. But if the Browns couldn't sack Matt Stafford, let's see if the team that leads the league in sacks can sack Matt Stafford this weekend. I am curious.
Yeah.
All right, Boogie. Go ahead and walk away or get drunk or, I don't know, hide.
This is we're at the point of talking about the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't have any argument against it anymore. The 49ers beat the fucking brakes the fuck off the Eagles 42-19. Holy good Lord. I saw an Eagles fan go so far out of his way. He went into the referee statistics. This is the tweet today. This is a tweet from an Eagles fan today. And this is asinine. The Eagles' only 2 regular season losses in 2022 were while Alex Kemp is officiating, is assigned for the referee. He was assigned for the referee in San Francisco versus Philly in Week 13. Controversially, this is the 49ers' 6th game in the last 30 games with Kemp officiating 20% of their games. The 49ers are 4-1 in those games, 3-0 on the road with Alex Kemp reffing.
Okay, but the refs kicked out one of their best players.
Okay, first off, fat ass fucking shithole Dom shouldn't be. I'm with Mike Shanahan on this one, or Kyle Shanahan. Sorry, I saw a picture of Mike earlier, and my brain's on him because they were showing Jake Browning working out with Mike Shanahan before he came to the NFL. You can't have a guy that has nothing to do with the players and the team touching and like physically getting in between players. You just can't do it.
Let them fight.
The players just need to be separated by themselves, and the official's job is to get in there. It is not. You can't have fat piece of shit stepping in there with his giant ass going, "Let me get in the way," and everyone's acting like, "Oh, it's so amazing that he did it." No, it's not. It's why a lot of people outside of Philly are tweeting about how classless this organization is, and they continuously have problems in the stands. They just don't. That really aggravated me because Greenlaw should have gotten ejected because he made contact, and I understand that. But if he can make contact to Greenlaw, I have no problem with Greenlaw making contact back.
Right, and you're talking like in the case of a player, right? You've got them playing as hard as possible, trying to kill each other, and then you're like, when you hear the whistle, stop. Right? Like, and this is a big game for both these teams. So
there's been trash talk all week long. At the end of last season, all week long this week, social media all week long as well. Fucking Deebo Samuel came and played in third-rate cleats to show that he's so much better than them. Like, he was literally playing in what people consider very low-level equipment on his feet, and Deebo went off. Like, they made this game personal.
It was.
And when Dom did it, Eagles fans can say he's a treasure, but they were winning at the moment in time. And when he did it, San Francisco got fired up, and Philly did nothing after that moment. That moment turned the entire game.
Greenlaw getting ejected, that is like a defensive captain.
Yeah, I mean, that is the guy, literally, Fred Warner and him are the most deadly duo in the middle of a football field.
Yeah,
that entire game turned on that head right then and there. San Francisco walked away. Brock Purdy looked phenomenal, which I did not expect. I did not expect it at all.
Well, and that was, I think, what Deebo said, right? Deebo came out and said, "Look, if we had Purdy last year, you guys don't beat us."
Yeah.
And they were all like, "Well, we took him out. You should have protected him," and that stuff. Well, it's like, well, now they kind of showed it, right?
And then you had some of them going, "Oh, well, Brock had nothing to do with all the rushing yards and us dominating
yards after catch." Listen, you can't penalize a quarterback because his weapons are good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and you guys learn how to tackle.
Okay.
I picked the Eagles so confidently. Like, I felt good. When that game started, I was like,
I was going to pick the Niners, and then I switched because I wanted my, like, backwards-ass logic to work. Because I wanted the Niners to win this game. Right? But
I wanted Philly to win, so that way if Dallas wins next week, nothing matters. It does not matter at all. But now Philly lost. Now if they lose to Dallas, everything fucking matters. And I hate that. I hate that the fact that the Cowboys might able to be like, we're right here. Because they're not far off of a 1 seed. San Francisco slips one time if the Cowboys beat Philly.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys could have beat them the first time.
Yeah, and that was in Philly. Now they have to play them in Dallas.
Right.
And Dak Prescott currently might be the best quarterback of the NFL. And people can shoot me all they want. They showed us statistics today. Compared to everybody else, he's miles ahead of everybody.
He just gets shit on because he's Dak.
And people are like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is MVP. No, Dak is beating him in every single category.
Patrick Mahomes
touchdown to interception ratio.
Mahomes does not have an MVP case right now. Okay.
A lot of people say he does, but I'm like, no, he does not.
A guy came out today and made some very good points about Patrick Mahomes. He goes, if you want to talk about a guy who's profiting from his coach in the system, he goes, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. He goes, 50% of his passes are thrown at or behind his wide receivers. So when you give him average weapons, he's not a good quarterback. And somebody goes, could you put him on the Bears? Is he a good quarterback?
Yes, because he has a great weapon.
Right. But
he would have DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, so he'd be fine.
Yeah, but that coaching situation.
Yeah, I don't know if he. I actually don't know what Patrick Mahomes would be like without Andy Reid.
Right. That's a tough argument to make. But I liked where the guy was coming from. He had a good point.
I've said a lot that he misses throws. People say I'm psychotic because they're like, look at his completion percentage. I'm like, I still feel like he's missing throws. I just don't. Like, he's great, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times where I'm like, wow, Patrick Mahomes can do some things other quarterbacks can't do. But there was a play yesterday, which we'll get to when we get to the Packers game in a little bit. But there was a play where I was just like, and Collinsworth was losing his mind. He's like, only Patrick Mahomes. I was like, to be honest, if the receiver didn't come back for the ball, that wasn't a catch.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, but anyway, back to the Niners. Look, the Eagles, every team has to have a bad game, I guess. And there was so much emotion and violence like put into this game. Like, this game was everything. Like, to these teams, this game was everything.
I don't know, man. The Niners, when it comes to playing teams that are supposed to be contenders, they just annihilate them.
It was like 42-19 and then 42-10 against the Cowboys and Eagles combined this season. Like,
what was it 34-3 against Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Like, anybody who was a contender that has to play the Niners, it's like, not anymore.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited but nervous because Christmas Day is Niners Ravens in Baltimore.
Oh, that's
and I'm like, dude,
game.
I'm like, that could be a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if the Ravens, even if they lose, but they keep it close, that tells you something. Because like you said, every other contender the Niners have played, they're just beating the brakes off of them.
Yeah, it just seems like, okay, as long as they have Trent Williams and everybody semi-healthy, good luck beating them.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Look, Philly, I give them a lot of shit. I don't like Dom. I've never liked Dom. Everyone in Philly acts like he's a national treasure. He doesn't do anything. Like, I'm not saying off the field. I know what he does off the field. He's a very charitable human being, and I like that. But, like, he's not anything special. He's not a coach. He doesn't make the players better. I just don't get the obsession with him being on the sideline. I don't get it. But he had no right touching a player from another team. It's not his job. He's not supposed to be in that position. The NFL has said that today. There will probably be a fine to the Eagles organization today or tomorrow at some point.
For sure.
Greenlaw will not get suspended from everything I'm hearing. They're saying that he'll just receive a fine as well. Fine, whatever, do that. I meant to mention this during the Broncos game. Not the Broncos game. The Panthers-Bucks game. I forgot to mention it because we've had 3 ejections yesterday. Brian Burns was ejected for punching somebody.
Isaiah Pacheco.
We'll get to that when we get to it. But there's the other ejection and then Greenlaw, of course.
But one thing I did here to just continue on with this game, Brock Purdy through 17 games, highest QBR ever.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not remotely close either.
No, not. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like here's you can say, oh, he's got CMC and he's got Ayuk, he's got, I mean, you can go down the weapons list, George Kittle, but you still have to be able to use them.
And I honestly think they're system guys. I don't think Deebo Samuel's a superstar on teams like
he's not. He might not even be a top 10 NFL wide receiver because he's not a wide receiver. He's a hybrid.
Exactly. And Ayuk's not a top 15 wide receiver realistically.
Yeah, he's just grown into.
I can name 15 receivers I'd take over Ayuk. Exactly. He has McCaffrey. But
CMC's probably right now, McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill are the 2 non-quarterbacks that could win the MVP.
I think right now Tyreek Hill's MVP. People can say whoever they want. I don't know how anyone can tell me it's not Tyreek Hill right now. I can't think of a quarterback more deserving. Brock Purdy's the only. I hate weird to say it, but Brock Purdy's the only other MVP candidate besides McCaffrey. Like
I think Lamar will get if Lamar can beat the 49ers.
Yes.
Lamar's going to have a very
I think if they're the 1 seed, I think Lamar wins it just because quarterback bias. I think if they wind up the 1 seed in the AFC, which they'll have to beat the Niners to do it because the Dolphins might not lose another game this season, Dallas being their only hard game left. Baltimore's got to win out. And if they do, I do think Lamar, especially with the loss of Andrews, if you can overcome that and still do what you're doing, I think they might be all right. Wow, that's a lot of free agents about to leave Cincinnati. All 3 tight ends.
Oh.
Jonah Williams. All 4 tight ends. Jonah Williams and T. Higgins are all free agents at the end of the season.
Wow.
Yikes. And there's a Joe Mixon touchdown. It's 14-14. But anyway, I don't know. We have to talk about it on Sunday morning because I don't know yet who I'm picking, but I'm still leaning Eagles. This didn't convince me they're not a contender. It just made me realize San Francisco's this fucking good.
They are
Philly.
They are the complete roster, right?
Yeah. Even with Hufanga out and a couple other
defensive pieces. They did it without Hufanga. Like
Greenlaw for more than half a game.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem with Philly this year versus last year is they're much worse against the run.
And the pass. They're terrible against the pass.
So
they're bottom 5, I think. Hold on. Let's look at this.
No, they did add Byard. They did add Shaq Leonard.
They're 30th against the pass.
Ooh, that means only 2 people worse are the Chargers and the Bucks. Yeah.
And they're about to play CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
That's fucking that. That might be a persuasion for me right there. And they're also the worst on third down. They allow third down conversions 48% of the time.
Oof.
That is not okay. This defensive coordinator is not keeping his job after the season. But anyway, we already know Sunday Night Football this coming week. A very important game, huge game. Philly, Dallas. I'm rooting for Philly. I don't know who I'm taking yet because who I'm rooting for doesn't mean that's who I'm picking, as you have all seen every week that I've picked against the Packers now. But
keep doing it. It's a winning strategy.
I mean, it's hard not to at this point picking for them. Like their schedule's now dumb easy. But San Francisco, I don't really care who they play. They're going to win. They host the Niners. They host the Seahawks, this coming weekend.
Oh, that should be a shellacking too.
Yeah. Eagles got to get it right, though. They got to get right. I don't know. Boogie might be able to tell me because I don't know. Did DeAndre Swift leave the game injured? I saw him get hurt. But I didn't know. It says undisclosed on my phone. It says injured late and lopsided loss, injury undisclosed. So I don't know. I don't know. The Eagles were without Jalen Hurts for a little bit, but he cleared concussion protocol and came back, so that's not going to be a problem moving forward. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had great games. I do want to mention that in their behalf because they did do really well against this Niners defense. The Eagles couldn't finish some drives, which was really crucial. Some pretty important sacks.
Yeah. And then they couldn't do what they're good at, which is run the ball and control the clock because they were down. After the first quarter, they went down and never came back up,
Yeah, and DeAndre Swift was bad even before that. 6 of 13. Like, he was just bad. But Philly, on the positive side, we talked about it, me and you. We haven't talked about it here. Got Shaq Leonard signed. So Shaq Leonard joins the Eagles.
Helping out that linebacking crew.
Yep. And they also potentially get Goddard back soon. It could be as soon as this coming Sunday. So,
yeah. And
Zach Ertz is now a free agent. So I know Philly fans would not be upset if they signed him, even if he's the 2. Like, why not?
What if Ertz is not? I mean, he should be ready, but what if he's not? What if he gets hurt?
Yeah. But
and it's a guy they know already.
Anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to hard on the Eagles too much more because they're still 10-2.
Yeah, and I think once we knew about how this game went, because everybody kept saying, the Niners, like in my head, are the best roster in the NFL. And when they play their best, I think they're the best team in the NFL. But right now, Philly had been performing like the best team in the NFL. Oh, did you see that one hit? I think it was Lenore when he hit the receiver coming across the field.
No.
Oh my God. They were running, the receiver was running full speed like across the field, and Lenore just stepped in with a shoulder right after he caught the ball, and his feet came straight up from under him. Oh, that was the one on Swift. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. I guess I just saw Swift on the ground.
He was full speed running, and then he was horizontal to the ground, going through the air. Like,
yeah, I just missed that. I only saw I saw the whole game, but I must have missed that play because I remember the only thing I remember of Lenore is giving up that touchdown to Devontae Smith. But that's all I could remember.
Yeah, and I'm not. But, yeah, well. No, it wouldn't have counted for a tackle because he removed the ball from his hands too.
But I will be honest. I said it to myself before the podcast started. I don't remember much of football yesterday because my mind is still somehow confused about this next game of 27-19. The Packers beat the Chiefs. I'm still fucking confused that we won that game. Like, I know I watched a lot of all the other games, but I don't know what the fuck happened because my brain is still trying to process how this happened.
Yeah, I mean, we were both. I was more sure of this pick than the Philly pick. You know, I was like, okay.
Good job to the Pack. I'm really happy Jordan Love is really starting to look fucking good. And I gotta say this. They even talked about it on TV. Adam Schefter pointed out through the first 11 games as a Packers quarterback, starting quarterback, him and Aaron Rodgers have the exact same amount of passing yards, win-loss record, and touchdowns entering yesterday's game.
Yeah.
And so I've been criticizing the crap out of him, but I'm like, I didn't know these things. I just see what I see on the field. And then lately what I've seen on the field is a changed quarterback. But again, what I texted you during the game was Jaden Reed said that after those 3 or 4 bad games in a row, however many it was, Jordan Love sat down and said, okay, after practice, we're going to sit down. Me and the receivers are going to sit down and work on things so we understand and connect better. And he said they do it after every single practice now. Jordan Love stays late to work with just the receivers. And I'm like, all right, if that's working, then fuck it, work. I don't care. I know everybody wants to talk about the final play or the final 3 plays where MVS gets ran through by Valentine and you know what? It was a pass interference. But as Dot and me have said a million times on this show, the refs cannot be the reason you lose a game. There are a lot of other plays that happened in the game leading up to that moment that you could have won the game or taken the lead in the game. And even Patrick Mahomes said, I don't have a problem with them letting them play it late. Let the boys play is what he said after the game.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody's gonna call pass interference on a Hail Mary unless
Collinsworth was real upset about that Hail Mary. I'm like, bro, I don't know the last time I've seen a pass interference.
Hail Mary's gonna get called because your arm didn't get to go up. It's not a Hail Mary, okay?
I don't know the last time I've seen a pass interference thrown on a Hail Mary because it's not something we should ever see.
We could probably look it up because it's probably a stat.
But I'm beyond happy we won. Simone Biles on Instagram today was doing fucking celebration tweets and posts. It was adorable because she's just adorable. When you're 4'10", you're just adorable. But the plays in this game that really made and break this game is the Chiefs. They have a problem. Rashee Rice is the only receiver Patrick Mahomes can rely on that's not named Travis Kelce. And that's a problem. And people can be like, well, how can you blame him? I'm sorry, but I'm starting to feel a Rodgers thing right now in Kansas City. And people can say I'm crazy, but you can't tell me Patrick Mahomes can't make things work with people like Richie James and Sky Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling if Jordan fucking Love can make it work with 4 rookies and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. I'm sorry, but there's no way you can tell me that that's not the same. Like, Mahomes has to be able to elevate the talent around him. Jordan Love is working with literally Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, second-year wide receivers, 3 rookie tight ends, and all rookie receivers behind the other 2.
Yeah, their only real veterans are the running backs.
They said it. The oldest player on the roster on offense with Bakhtiari on the IR are Elton Jenkins and Aaron Jones. They're the 2 oldest players on the entire offense.
It's crazy.
They were drafted in 2019.
Right.
There's just no people keep going, oh, well, the drops and the drop. Well, Mahomes work with them more than in practice. Stay after. Stop doing fucking State Farm commercials.
I don't think anybody's curing MVS drops. Like, that's just not happening.
No, I almost said that today on Facebook. I was like, people can keep getting upset about that penalty that should have been called. He might have dropped it anyway. He's MVS. Like,
I just think it's like they need to have like that scene from The Replacements with him where they stick all the sticky shit on his hands. He's like, looks like I just jerked off an elephant. What are they gonna do? Throw you in football jail? Like, that's what they need to do with him, because otherwise he's just not catching a ball. Now, just to go back to what we were talking about before, okay? The last time pass interference was called in the NFL on a Hail Mary, and you guys aren't going to believe this because only this person would get a call on a Hail Mary, was Tom Brady with the Bucks in 2020. Okay? And the time it was last called before that was 2008.
No, there you go.
So it was also probably Tom Brady then, but
Peyton Manning. It was definitely one of them.
That's about it, right? Like, those are the only guys who can get that call. So you can bitch all you want. Like, I understand. Look, the one PI that wasn't called, I understand, but you also got a call for the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes was hit while he's still in bounds, and they called it roughing the passer or
unnecessary roughness
because he was out of bounds when he wasn't out of bounds.
Yeah, because he got hit hard. I'm like, well, and as Collinsworth even said, and Collinsworth's not right a lot, but he was right when he goes, and Mahomes was not only still in bounds, but he was also right at the first down marker. So if you're going to stay in bounds, the player is allowed to hit, and he didn't hit helmet. He literally went shoulder to chest. Like, everything was but I agree with you, and I agree all the time. Refs do not make the game because there's how many plays? 60, 45 offensive plays besides that one that you're upset about.
Some of the penalties are super subjective, like the calls.
Agreed. But, like, there's a way the league, and I hope they do something in the offseason. You know that quick review they do now for, like, touchdowns and stuff? They're in the final 2 minutes of a game, at half and at the end of a game, if they wanted to do like one of those quick reviews while they're relining up to say, oh, there shouldn't have been a penalty there, but we called it, or, oh, that's pass interference, I think I can get behind that if it's not every fucking game. But, like, because, like, they're game-changing plays to a degree at times that maybe need to be reviewed. But, like, we can't – I say that, but at the same time, then I also feel like not pass interference – roughing the passer needs to start being reviewed, because there's a lot of times lately where we're like, what the fuck was the call?
Yeah, you're like, he's never going to recover from getting touched by a feather.
I just, like, at this point, put fucking flags on them. The quarterbacks. I don't.
Yeah, we're getting to the point in the NFL where it's kind of like the argument in baseball with the robo-ump.
Yeah.
You know, like, does it help or does it hurt? Because in one instance, I think it would help in the NFL, like you said, if it's late down the game. Now, mind you, everybody was kind of against official reviews when they first started coming out because people are naturally resistant to change, right?
Yeah.
So they've started now. We've had that in place for a while. It's gotten better. So maybe this is just an evolution of that piece of it. Or like you said, if it's a game-changing play, they do have a quick button to do a TV timeout and take a look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a hard time internally because I'm like, I also feel like human error is what makes sports. Like, there is human error.
Or make like have a head referee on the field, but have a guy up in a booth who's actually the head referee that can call down and be like, wrong, call it,
Yeah, I mean, something simple. There's a solution they can work on in the offseason. There's a couple things they're going to review I already know of in the offseason. Like the tush push is probably going to get banned in the offseason. When the commissioner of the NFL comes out and goes, I want that banned, I hate it, it's probably going to happen.
Well, it's kind of a place where something like a Tank Dell injury happens to a big name quarterback, but only the Eagles can do it because of their center. So
exactly what I was about to say. I kind of want them to keep it because I want to see what happens when Jason Kelsey retires at the end of the year. What happens with the tush push?
Yeah.
Like, probably not very successful. That man is a freaking beast. Like, he is a straight monster.
He literally gets like low to the ground and then launches himself like a missile forward.
And I don't know. Like, I know people love Trav, and Trav's a cool dude. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate him or anything else.
Jason's probably the better football player.
And I don't know how people don't love that man. He is the coolest. In my opinion, he's the coolest Kelsey. I fucking love every time Jason's on TV. I love it.
Well, it's because he's the older brother. They're always,
Brotherly. No, it's not the brotherly shove. It is.
No, it's the tush push.
No, it's not that either anymore.
Oh, what's the new one?
It's the love shove.
The love shove. Yes. Yes. That was last night. God.
Yes, Hurts made it to the end zone standing straight up and then just stepped over.
I saw that. He stepped right over
fuck?
everybody. I was like, that's great. What a great shot of a football player.
Right. That's balance and leg strength, man. That is just, his balance is insane. I don't know if there's anything more to talk about in this 27-19 game.
I think like he's still got, he's one of the best players in the NFL, right?
And he's one of the most cool, under pressure, poised human beings. And he's I just love Jalen Hurts. I hated him for a while in college because I hate everything that comes out of Alabama. Because I fucking hate Nick Saban in Alabama. But man, Jalen Hurts is just one of those cool dudes. He's just such a classic. He is a classy human being. And it's crazy, and I'm not trying to be mean, Boogie, but when you talk about Philly, a lot of classlessness comes out of Philly fans and the organizations.
Oh,
and
they're one of the most hated fan bases in all.
I'm not saying you, but you know what I'm talking about. You're a Philly fan. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Philly fanatics.
They boo fucking Santa Claus. They have kids fucking literally. They have people fighting in the stands consistently. And that's not just the Eagles. I mean, the Flyers fans are my least favorite sports fans in the world. Or my least favorite are Flyers fans.
And they were like the Broad Street Bullies, right? Like,
I can't stand them. Like, I hate them more than Yankees fans. But like Jalen Hurts is like one of the most classy human beings. There's so respect around that man. Everything is just. I love him. And I hope he continues to do well, and I hope the Eagles continue to do well because I hate everybody else in the NFC East.
Yes, but I've seen his parade speech, and he was wonderful. Listen, if I was a Philly player, I would absolutely love the Philly fans.
It depends, I guess, on how fragile you are, right? Because, like, you see it in baseball and football, like the ones that are like emotionally in touch with themselves. If once they get booed once, they're done. Because once Philly fans hate you, you just got to get out of the city.
Yeah, you're going in the dumpster. Like, you're done.
Once they hate you,
could you imagine if the guy that caught the Cubs baseball to rob their player of that out was a Philly guy? He would be dead. Like,
imagine if the Dez no catch was a Philly Dez Bryant.
Oh,
the Packers would never be allowed back in Philly. Like,
it was like AJ Brown, Yeah. Oh man, well that's kind of it, right? Like I understand, and you can be passionate and respectful, but it is kind of funny seeing that little kid flip off a dude from the Bills fan. So.
Like I said, they're classless, but I still respect them because they're their own. They have their own uniqueness to them.
Yeah, not all of them are classless.
Yeah, Boogie's Nice.
It was like that dude who was standing up at the game and he had a beer in one hand and a bag of some powdery white substance in the other one, and he just had no shame about showing it.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but yeah, I didn't know Jim Irsay was an Eagles fan.
Yeah, it was so funny because it was like it literally just blatant. Like he had one in one hand, one in the other, and just having a great time.
I'm going to Philly in April. I don't know, Boogie. We don't talk. Occasionally you'll send me a funny video on TikTok or you'll post it in our Discord. That's it. And then here. I don't know. But Dot likes you and Daniel likes you. If Dan and Dot like you, I kind of got to think you're at least nice. I mean, Dot's kind of a dick at times, but he's a good dick.
Absolutely. 100%.
He's a good dick. He's that dick that girls just don't want to lose. He's the good dick. Anyway, Packers so the game was good. Packers, I don't know who they play. It's a bad team. They have the easiest schedule remaining of all teams in the NFL. Oh, that's right. They're Monday Night Football. You're welcome. So Titans, Dolphins on Monday night, and then the doubleheader because they're both at 8:15. Giants, Packers.
Oh man.
What am I coming to Philly?
We get the love shove versus the cutlets.
I'm actually going to be in Philly for 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 full nights and a 5th day, technically. I guess. WrestleMania. So I'm going to be there for SmackDown / Hall of Fame ceremony on that Friday before WrestleMania because WrestleMania is Saturday and Sunday. And then I'm going to be there for the NXT card and WrestleMania on Saturday, WrestleMania on Sunday, and then the Monday Night Raw following WrestleMania is also in Philadelphia. So I'm going to be there for that, and then I'm going to leave Tuesday morning from Philly. But I'll be spending 4 days in the area. I haven't been to Philly since I was 7. So I have no fucking clue what the hell to do in Philadelphia during the days. I don't know where to go. I don't know where's safe because I know Philly's kind of like Baltimore where really it's only a couple nice places and everything else is shit. So I just got to be smart about where I go and stuff. I'll do the research.
I've been to Philly one time. It was for a Red Bull Flugtag event, and I hardly remember anything that happened that day. So,
but
we started drinking vodka Red Bulls at 8 a.m. It was not a good day.
I don't know. As a guy with a history major and a master's in American history, I kind of am excited to see something.
Don't they have some bell there you're supposed to go see?
It's fuck the stupid Liberty Bell. Ichabod Crane, correct that. I do want to see Independence Hall, but other than that, I don't really know. I just don't. I'm not a big Rocky fan. I don't like watching the movies.
You're gonna go do the steps.
So I'm not really I don't know. I'll ask Boogie later. I'll get closer to the day. I don't know. I do want to see Philly, but like I said, it's like Baltimore to me. I tell people all the time, if you come to Baltimore and you've never been, just tell me. I'll come show you around because so the best part of Baltimore, for those who don't know, is the Inner Harbor, which is where the Orioles and Ravens are both put. They're both in the Inner Harbor. And then, of course, you got the National Aquarium because the DC doesn't have room for an aquarium. So we have the National Aquarium. And then Under Armour's factory, and Under Armour actually bought, I think it's 15 blocks of space where they just opened up all of these restaurants and little shops and stuff. It's all right there on the Inner Harbor. Everything good. You literally leave the Inner Harbor, you go 1 block, and you're in what they call the block, and it is a very, very bad area of Baltimore.
Yeah, you don't want to
go to the nicest
area.
Because I went to Montana, right, for multiple years. So I come back and I go to the Inner Harbor because I love the Inner Harbor. And then I was like, I'm going to take the metro today. So I walked to the metro station and I forgot to get to the actual metro station. I had to go through the block. And I walked past, I'm not lying to you, 6 different drug deals going down the 1 block I had to get to the thing. And I was just like, I'm going to keep my head down and pretend I'm not watching any of this go down. Because it's just a bad city.
In those areas, even if you look at them, I don't think they really care.
I don't, but I haven't been to Baltimore. I lived in Baltimore for the first 3 years of my life. I don't know much besides. I mean, I know everything now because I've gone so many times as an adult, and I know where to go and what's good and what's not. Little Italy's getting out of hand too now, which sucks. But that's because they're still the second worst city in the country, according to the crime polls put out by the FBI. They have the second highest crime rate, the second highest homicide rate. They're just it's just 3 straight mayors have been jailed. Like, it's just a bad. I don't know.
Listen, if corruption's what we do, we're gonna do it well. Like,
and the funny thing is, one of the mayors that got jailed was jailed for taking bribes as a mayor, and she got put in jail for 5 years. And now that she's out, she's going to run for mayor next year. I'm like, how can you do that?
Go back to jail. She's like, I'm done with my stint. Time to go back. I'm reformed.
Like, Kiwi keeps talking about how she wants to come visit from New Zealand, and I was like, just make sure you have me if you like, because she wouldn't. I mean, obviously she's going to spend the whole time. Her and her boyfriend or fiance. I don't know what the fuck Len is at this point. They've been together for 9 years. I don't know. But her and Len are going to come visit, and they're going to we're going to do the things around the whole country when they finally come visit. But she was like, do we stay in Baltimore? I was like, no, you don't do that. You have an accent. You don't know anything about the United States. You do not do that. Or we won't know Kiwi and Len anymore.
Yeah. Listen, you can't go into these areas, and you certainly can't go to elementary schools, okay?
Definitely not. Actually, you might be able to in Baltimore. All those little 8-year-olds are probably packing.
Yeah. How do you stop a bad guy with a gun? 8-year-olds with handguns.
I've seen some crazy shit in Baltimore. I don't know. Anyway, we have power rankings still to do tonight. So top 10. I started last time, so now it's your turn to start. I mean, we already know who one is.
I mean, we know who number 1 is. San
Francisco's number 1. All right, we both agree on that one. So go ahead with 2, because this is. I mean, there's now no one clear number 2.
I think right now, I'm not gonna discount Philly. Like, I still think Philly is number 2. Obviously this week could change that, but I would still put them at 2 right now.
Okay. My 2, and I know Dot does the same way. We look at the schedule ahead. We look at who they've played. We look at everything, record and everything else. My 2 right now was my 1 last time we did it 4 weeks ago. I'm put them at 2 because San Francisco's just clapping everybody. So I've got to move them back a little bit, and I've got the Baltimore Ravens at 2.
And we get that upcoming, right?
I'm so excited for that Christmas Day game.
I'm just excited it's on Christmas Day. That's a nutty game to have, because at that point it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and it's a Sunday. Like, Christmas is on a Sunday, so like it's one of the only 4 games that day, because they didn't want to do a lot of Christmas games. So there's like Saturday's got like 5, and then Monday's got like 4. Like, there's not very many. Because we're not very many games.
See, this is what the NFL does that really well. Is okay. They're like, look, we're normally all Sunday, but everybody's going to be.
Oh, home. I lied. I'm sorry. Christmas Day is a Monday. I lied.
Okay.
Christmas Eve is Sunday. I don't know why.
Even then, think about it, right? NFL just goes, well, we'll have games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday because everybody's going to be home.
Yeah, actually, they have the Thursday night game as always, Saints Rams that week, and then they've got 2 Saturday games to Saturday, December 23rd, because like you said, everybody's going to be home. Neither of them are great. I mean, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh could have been great if it was Burrow. Bills, Chargers,
could be, then,
yeah, and then you have the Christmas Eve plethora of games, and then Monday, because it's Christmas Day, they know everybody's going to be home, so it's Raiders, Chiefs, and then Eagles, Giants. I don't know. And then Ravens, Niners. Again, Ravens, Niners being the Monday night game on Christmas night. Oh, such a gift to all of America.
Yeah, that is a true gift this year. Like, there's nothing. I actually probably would have put Baltimore too. I don't know.
Christmas Eve, I hope they flex this, because you guys right now are the Sunday night game against the Broncos.
Oh,
I hope they flex it, because Dolphins Cowboys in Miami is a 4:25 game.
Yeah, I would be. That's insane that they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, give me that on Christmas Eve night, and then Ravens Niners on Christmas Day night. Like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm perfectly happy. But anyway, my Ravens.
Maybe they're thinking that if you have Christmas Eve and you gotta, you're going places, you might get a little too much to drink in you. That's why they're doing it early on Christmas Eve.
I don't know. But all right, so Ravens are my 2. You said the Eagles are your 2. Who's your 3?
I can't put Baltimore any further down the list. Like I said, I think I'm kind of FSUing them from like, who are they without Andrews? That defense is real. Like, good luck.
Bye, Jamar.
Is he dead?
No, that's a 21-14 Bengals lead on a 60-yard Jamar Chase touchdown.
Oh, that kind of by Jamar. So this is what I'm about to see then.
And he got real cocky.
I think this is something the Jaguars struggle with. They had a 3rd and 1 and couldn't convert, gave the ball away, and then see ya.
Oh, I lied. Not 60-yard. 75-yard.
He got real cocky, so the guy shoved him. At least he didn't Isaiah Pacheco, dude. Like, I never understood that about the NFL. Why are you punching a dude in a helmet? Like, you're just going to hurt yourself worse.
Pacheco's a fucking idiot. He was having the best game of his career.
I know.
And he decides to just oh man, he let an undrafted practice squad elevated player from last season, Keyshawn Nixon, get under his skin that bad on blocking. Oh, that was crazy. But anyway, all right, yeah, so your logic of why the Eagles and the Ravens are your 3 are I can't let Philly fall any farther. They're my 3. I think they would have been ahead of the Ravens, but getting just ass rape dominated by the Niners just has me just drop them to 3 instead of 2. Because the Ravens will never get blown out. Their defense is too good to get blown out. So I say that, but they play the Niners.
I was going to say, what happens if San Francisco blows them out?
All
right. It pains me to say this. But Dallas 4. I think you said it. Dak's numbers are great. They are struggling to run the ball. I mean, you got what? A bunch of 9-3 teams, right?
Yeah, I'm taking one of the other ones. I don't feel comfortable. All right, my 4 is the Miami Dolphins. Oh. I don't know.
It's kind of a grab bag here, right? It's just a grab bag here because you're like, well, all these teams are kind of similar.
The Dolphins and the Cowboys just haven't beat anybody with a winning record yet. That
right.
I'm like
I said, I can't wait to see them play each other.
But like Miami at least has A-Chain and Mostert. And Jalen Ramsey now with Xavier Howard at corners, like their defense is really starting to wake up. So I'm like,
they lost Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, I know that sucks, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I almost put the Cowboys here, but I was like, Tyreek Hill. I don't know. This is hard.
You go. Okay, Dak is playing better than Tua, numbers wise. CeeDee Lamb versus Tyreek, and then you have what are the two? Jalen Waddle and Brandon Cooks. Miami doesn't have a tight end. Dallas does.
Yeah, who would have thought my Wisconsin baby Jake Ferguson is a tight end?
The run game goes to Miami.
Oh, hands down, all 3 of them right now are better than what's going on in Dallas.
And yeah, like that's where I kind of feel like this would have been if Dallas had made a strong enough push, could they have gotten somebody like Derrick Henry at the deadline?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or gotten Zeke back for that matter. Just another piece to help.
I don't know. Tonight has helped me put the Jags down farther than what their record said. Jake Browning is 19 of 21.
Yeah, and but the Jags offense is not just, they don't convert enough.
They're not convincing, yeah, for sure. But anyway, all right, sorry. Anyway, so my 4 is Miami. I don't love it. I don't really love it at all, but I have to. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. You're 5.
My 5
All right, I gotta let my crazy hair out.
is Miami because I trust them more than Detroit right now.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
So I can't see Miami not being in this position. I mean, they're running away with their own division now.
Nope, can't do it.
Nope, can't do it.
Yeah, Buffalo's getting away. Falling too far away.
So yeah, I just think Miami, this is a good spot for them. They're playing well. Obviously, they're a track meet, so when they get against super physical teams, they struggle. But the super physical teams are the teams that are above them.
All right, my 5. I don't know. I have to ignore what I saw last night. My 5 is still Kansas City because in the end, that defense is still the defense, and Nick Bolton is due back in 2 weeks. Their schedule is really kind of easy the rest of the way. Like, they get Buffalo this week. I'm not concerned about Buffalo too much. And then they get New England, Las Vegas, the Bengals, and the Chargers.
Right. We weren't concerned about Green Bay, and Green Bay just beat them. So
I know, but Buffalo can't. Buffalo doesn't have A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon made a huge difference. People don't realize, his numbers weren't phenomenal, but he made such a difference yesterday. Every time they needed, on a first down, someone just to get 4 or 5 yards and do physical hard running and wear out Chris Jones, he did it. And by the way, 3 different players got hurt yesterday running into A.J. Dillon's legs.
Yeah, I did see that.
People should probably learn how just find a way to tackle A.J. Dillon high because those quads are absolutely terrifying. But yeah, I put the Chiefs at 5. The defense is so good every week. They weren't great last night, but they're still a top 5 defense. And Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. I don't know.
I'm starting to sour on the Chiefs.
They're falling down my list. They were 2nd last time we did this. They're 5th now. They'll probably be 12th next time we do it. But
kind of like your Arizona regret. I should have stuck with my first instinct and went with Green Bay.
Yeah, you should have. I'm going to from now on. The Packers have the easiest remaining schedule. I can't. But anyway,
you pick them 1 week.
I'll pick them against the Giants, and somehow they'll fucking lose to Tommy DeVito.
And then you'll just go right back to my strategy, which is I'm never picking them again because it's a win-win situation.
Anyway, 6.
Ooh. I think this is where I put the Chiefs. I would favor the Chiefs versus the Lions, right? The Chiefs' defense is much better, especially in the secondary.
Yeah, the Chiefs won't almost lose to a Bears.
Right. And I feel like Detroit and Jacksonville have this thing where sometimes they play to their competition.
Yeah, Jared Goff with 8 turnovers in 3 weeks, even though he didn't have any this week. Still, it's just a very bad number right now.
Yeah. I get it.
So, all right, this is where I got the Cowboys sitting at 6. I almost put them in at 5 over the Chiefs. Just when it comes down to it, I need to see them against Philly. The Chiefs have beat teams with winning records. The Cowboys need to do it.
Well, and unless Dallas can get to that number 1 seed, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it far in the playoffs.
Yeah, if they're not at home, I'm still not convinced. And Seattle did play them at home, just to remind everybody. And DK Metcalf made Deron Bland look like he didn't belong in the NFL. So, what happens when they play Tyreek Hill in Miami?
Yeah, Seattle posted 35 on them. That's pretty good.
Yeah. But, I'll put them at 6. What are we at, 6? Yeah, 6. Yeah. I'll put them at 6. Go ahead and give me your 7.
Oh, I think this is where it starts to get real tough. God, might be high for some people, but I'm putting the Texans here.
I had them at 7 yesterday when I remembered we had to do power rankings, but I dropped them after the loss of Tank Dell.
Well, I mean, that's going to hurt, right? But for now, like, that's where they're playing to.
Yeah. I only dropped them a spot. I had them 7. I dropped them 1. I put the Lions back in 7. I'm not convinced by it, but they're 9-3. Their offense is still unstoppable.
Yeah.
So their defense can be pretty bad, which I give them credit for. They're really fucking bad. And Aiden Hutchinson is not what everyone thinks he is. I know he's a big name, but the dude does not get sacks like every week. Like,
yeah, he really doesn't.
There was a point. I don't know if he got any yesterday. I have no idea. I know Bruce Irvin got 2. Actually, let me pull that up. 0 sacks. So the reason I bring it up is because before the Packers game, he went 4 consecutive weeks without a sack. And then he got 1 against the Packers, and now he went another week without it. He's not – everyone acts like, oh, Aiden Hutchinson, he's the Lions defense. He's really not. The rookie Branch is the better player on the defense. But so I do have concerns about the Lions. The defense is all of my concerns. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, that's fucking unbeatable to stop that too. It's like Mostert and A-Chain. You have to pick which demon you're going to lose to. And then you get Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, and Josh Reynolds, and Sam Laporta. It's just too much power on the offense. And it's behind a pretty good offensive line. So all of that added up. I just have to have them at 7. As a Packers fan, it hurts me to say it, but I have them at 7. Anyway, go ahead. You're 8.
What am I missing?
The 9-3 teams, the Jags are 8-3, and the Lions you still have yet to put.
Yeah, I would put the Lions here
at 8.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't think I can slide them down any further. I think they'll move back up, obviously, like you said, with the Houston thing. But some of these games are a bit close, and I feel like they'll rear their head at some point, right?
You hope. This is the week to do it, Chicago, because then they get the Broncos, then they get the Vikings, then they get the Cowboys in Dallas, and then they get the Vikings again.
We do have a question.
Start 3, rest of season / playoffs. Kyron, Pollard, Gibbs, A-Chain, also Lamar or Purdy. All right, you're going to have to let me look at schedules for a couple of them. But Kyron automatically, he's been undeniable.
Yeah.
I would say A-Chain, even with a limited role yesterday, he still had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, big day for him, and you're going to see those. I think it's going to really be matchup dependent, but I would probably go Gibbs over Pollard.
Well, I just said Gibbs's. I would start him against the Bears. I would start him against the Broncos. I would start him against the Vikings. So, yeah, Gibbs, most likely. I don't think Pollard's schedule. Actually, the Cowboys have a very, very hard schedule here. They get Philly this week. Don't love it. This might be a shootout. Let's see. They get Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit for the rest of the season / playoffs. I don't like Pollard. So, yeah, I would go Kyron, Gibbs, and A-Chain of those 3. And Lamar or Purdy's interesting because right now it's hard to not say Purdy with what he's been doing, but let me look because Lamar is still Lamar. The Niners get Seattle this week, Arizona. Those are 2 really good Purdy games. Then Baltimore on Christmas Day, and then the Commanders. That's all favorable for Purdy. All of that, except for Baltimore. That's ugly as fuck. And Lamar gets the Rams, the Jags, the Niners, the Dolphins.
Lamar,
I would say rest of the season. I would rotate them based on the games.
Yeah, Lamar and Purdy are like 9 and 11 in most leagues, with Lamar being 9 and Purdy being 11. So you're talking minuscule amount of points between the two.
Because I like Lamar against the Rams more than Purdy against the Seahawks. Not that Purdy can't have a great game against Seattle. The Rams give up a lot of yards, and Lamar is going to take that apart. And Odell's going to have a revenge game. And then, like, Purdy against – who did I say it's in 2 weeks? Purdy against the Cardinals is better than Lamar against the Jags. So I think it just comes down to dependent on the matchup for those. But the other one, for the running backs, yeah, I easily go Kyron, Gibbs, and A-Chain. No offense.
Who do you take in the Lamar Purdy matchup?
Lamar.
You think Lamar has a better day against the Niners D?
The Niners D is giving up. I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards. Jalen Hurts had almost 300 yards passing. The Ravens have the number 2 rated pass defense.
Well, when you're getting blown out by 30, you can put in some backups.
Devontae Smith had 88 yards in the middle of the third quarter. I think that if it comes down to it, Lamar is. I don't want to be mean to the Eagles here, so let me put this very carefully. Lamar and Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell are harder to game plan for than Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift. Because you have to game plan for Zay Flowers, who is unpredictable out of the slot, plus Lamar's legs. Jalen Hurts is a good runner, but he's not as dynamic as Lamar Jackson at running the football. And then you still have Gus Edwards in the red zone who will wear you down. And then Keaton Mitchell is a spark plug. The Eagles have one running back. One. Kenneth Gainwell sucks. Boston Scott sucks. Miles Sanders sucked dick before they let him leave. And DeAndre Swift is starting to slow down. Look at his stats. He is slowing down each week right now. The Eagles are going to run into a problem if they can't get the ground game going again, because we see it. They have to control the clock because their secondary is atrocious. The Ravens secondary, Geno Stone is tied for the league in interceptions. Marlon Humphrey is getting better each week since he's come back from his surgery. And they lead the league in sacks.
I was going to say, the sacks is kind of ridiculous.
And you still have Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen to deal with. I feel like the Eagles – I feel like the Lamar has a better chance of a bigger game, but if Purdy plays clean, Purdy will have the bigger game.
Well, and it's not –
Can Purdy play clean against the Ravens defense? I don't know.
And I think with again, we talked about Purdy earlier with his QB rating being the highest ever through 17 games. I think with him, it also his numbers are a little reliant on the guys he's throwing the ball to. Because yes, if you look at what happened yesterday, I mean, Debo turns a 6-yard catch into a 46-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel you on that. I think that's kind of a tough one because who knows?
Yeah, a lot can happen between now and then too.
Yeah.
Debo could get hurt.
Lamar could get hurt.
Lamar is probably going to get hurt just because he's Lamar. 13 weeks is normally his cap. So
I was going to say we're coming up on it. He might.
He had a bye week 13. So now he's
maybe they should load management him like in the NBA.
That rule will come real quick if that happens. But yeah, I mean, if you're here with us, Cruz, I would definitely say this 3 running backs are Kyron, Gibbs, and A-Chain, and Lamar and Purdy are just rotate based on matchup. Because in 2 weeks, you're going to want Purdy against the Cardinals. It's just a way better matchup.
Yeah.
Especially since the Ravens have historically not been good against Jacksonville. Why is there a Packers fan at this game?
They travel.
Anyway, all right, my 8, since your 8 was the Lions, my 8 is the Texans. I had them 7. Tank Dell being out just takes away that big play guy.
Yeah.
Just dropped him a little bit for me. I look. There's no one bigger fan right now of what the Texans are doing under DeMeco Ryans and company. I love everything about the Texans. Jimmy Ward comes back yesterday, and the defense becomes elite, and that's amazing. That's just amazing. I will say that maybe they can counter the loss of Tank Dell now that Noah Brown's back and fully healthy, and they're going to get Dalton Schultz back next week. So maybe all of that comboed up, maybe it'll be all right. I don't know. And CJ Stroud's still CJ Stroud. So the Texans, it's hard to put them higher than this just because they're not even in the playoffs if the season ends today. And
I
what the fuck are you guys doing? Well, Josh Allen now has an interception, and Tyler Boyd has the pick, threw the pick.
Well done. I like it.
But the Texans do have a very favorable schedule. The Jets this week, then the Titans. Those are probably two good wins. Then the Browns. That'll be interesting with the defensive matchup there. But then the Titans and Colts to close out the season. So, I mean, the Texans do have a pretty okay schedule to finish out the year, so they could be all right. But anyway, you're 9.
And kind of to go in the similar direction you were just talking about, I have the Bills here.
Huh?
Yeah, I think the Bills are still a formidable opponent. Now, I also don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Wait, what? You have a team you don't think is going to make the playoffs? 14 teams make the playoffs. You still think they're the top 9 team?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's. I think the problem is they're going to have to go undefeated down the stretch to just have a number 1 schedule.
Not just a number 1. I think it's the second most difficult schedule in the season.
Right.
They get the Chiefs this week, then the Cowboys, then the Chargers, then the Patriots, then the Dolphins. The Patriots being their one layup, and that's a division rival, so it's never a layup. Okay. That's interesting. I'm not just saying it's wrong. Definitely can't say it's wrong. The Bills are still the Bills. Josh Allen could explode at any point. So
I mean, who are you going to put above them? The 6-6 Green Bay Packers, the 6-6 Rams, like Seahawks, like.
You skipped the team currently playing, and I have to put them here. I have the Jags at 9.
I think the Bills would beat the Jags.
I don't know. Jacksonville still leads their division.
They have an easy schedule,
and the Jags beat the Bills week 4 of the season, 25-20.
Yeah,
in Buffalo.
In London,
in London, that's where it was. No, I think the Jags are. They have what they need, right? They have a pass rusher that's very disruptive in Josh Allen. He's 3rd in the league in sacks. They have Travis Etienne. They just have no consistency. I don't know who the play caller is. I don't know if Doug Peterson's the play caller. I don't know what it is. There's just no consistency in the offense because they're my lowest winning record team. Well, not winning record because the Colts, the Browns, the Steelers, they're all below this. But they're the lowest team winning their division that's in a playoff spot right now because – there's just no consistency in Jacksonville.
Right. Yeah. Well, and depending on this Kirk injury, that could be big.
And things like this. What in the fuck was that?
See?
I mean, they're calling it a touchdown. I don't fucking know. This team is so frustratingly inconsistent.
Yeah,
but anyway.
for a team that's going to probably have 12 wins, they're just they're like Dallas when the typical Dallas team. You just don't know what you're going to get, and if you put them against any of the other top teams, you think they lose. And we did see what San Francisco did to them.
Yeah, I mean they might only wind up if they win today. They probably wind up with only 4 losses on the season. It's disgusting to see that they could be at 13-14, but they get the Browns. I think they win that just because they already practice squatted Joe. And then you get the Ravens, which is their loss, but then they get the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Titans. Like they just have a really easy schedule for winning their division last season. I don't know how they have such an easy schedule. But anyway, you're 10.
Oh, this is a hard one. I think I would put Seattle here.
Okay. No problem, Cruz. No problem at all. We love fantasy questions. We'll help out anytime we can.
Yeah.
We're here every Monday night. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and every Sunday morning at 11:30 to 11:45-ish before football, up until football starts. We'll answer any fantasy questions up till those moments until the games start. We'll help all along the way. We're both champions of leagues multiple times over, so we have a knowledge of the game.
I don't want to jinx it, but right now I'm going to be 13-0 after tonight in our league.
Yeah. Hi, Kiwi. How you doing, girl? All right, your 10 is going to be interesting to me. You said the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, I think that, obviously seeing, and this is more recent, right? For a team that couldn't score a touchdown to go out and post 35 on Dallas's defense shows me they're strong enough. And I like them over, the other 6-6 teams. And I like them over even some of the 7-5 teams. I think the team I would have debated putting here might be Cleveland, but that's with Joe Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts, maybe, I don't know. Certainly not Pittsburgh.
Nope. Pittsburgh can't be without weird to say without Pickett, but I still think Trubisky just turns the ball over more than Pickett, so I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because I think Pickett is the worst thrower of the ball. I think Trubisky has a better arm and more accurate, but Trubisky also makes worse decisions.
Like the Broncos, they were hot, but are they really that good? Like you said, this is where it gets really strange. If we were to rank, I don't know, 10 through 20, I think it would be a little harder.
It'd be random as fuck.
Yeah.
Because my 10 is a team that I refuse to pick nowadays, but I'm putting the Green Bay Packers here because
that was another team I thought about putting at 10.
Now they've won 4 of their last 5. Jordan Love is really heating up. There's, like I said, I always look at the upcoming schedule, and there's a very good chance they win out. I mean, it's the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Vikings, the Bears. The Vikings are the only real one, but that's with Josh Dobbs. So I'm like, and they're even debating starting Dobbs right now.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange too, right?
He had one bad game against the Bears, and they're like, well, I don't know. Josh might not be our guy. And I'm like, who was your guy then?
It was a bad game, numbers-wise, but they were winning that game. Their defense lost it.
Exactly. But, so I look at it, and I'm like, as weird as it sounds, we're, 6-6? Green Bay, if they went out, winds up 11-6. Even if they lose 10-7. Now, I wouldn't have predicted that at the point earlier in the season. And right now, the defense is still playing pretty good. Look what they did with the Chiefs. They held Patrick Mahomes only 1 touchdown. By the way, put $1 on certain things yesterday in parlays. I only missed because Patrick Mahomes didn't have 2 fucking touchdowns and Jordan Love didn't throw a pick. I had those 2 things, and I would have been fine. I would have made $980 on a $1 bet with all the other parlays I took. But Patrick Mahomes couldn't throw 2 fucking touchdowns without Jair Alexander on the fucking field, and Jordan Love just couldn't throw a pick in the red zone like I expected. But anyway. But look, I'm not trying to be a homer here because I really have a hard time putting them at 10. I almost put a couple teams here. Buffalo was one I thought about, regardless of how bad they've been and how tough their schedule is. Like I said, what if Josh Allen after the bye week just blows the fuck up this week and just gets hot? If Josh Allen is hot, no one stops the Buffalo Bills because Josh Allen, when he is on, he is on.
Yeah, he's.
But the problem is he hasn't clicked this season. He's had moments, and then it's just fallen off. If he can just click and stay locked in, the Bills will be the best team in the AFC. Besides maybe
Josh Allen is the best roller coaster quarterback in the NFL.
He's like Brett Favre used to be. Like Brett Favre, when he was on, you couldn't stop the Packers' offense.
Right.
He didn't care who he was throwing the ball to.
Yeah, when he started throwing the ball to the other team 3 times, it's hard to win a game.
Yeah, and the biggest problem right now is the Stephon Diggs drama won't stop. By the way, I don't know what Michael Thomas was tweeting during the Saints game or after the game, but I saw a report today, and I didn't go in and look into it and see what Michael Thomas was saying, but Dennis Allen said we'll handle what Michael Thomas was tweeting about in-house. So I don't know what's going on in New Orleans, but something drama. But anyway, that's top 10 for us. There was a couple close ones here. Like you said, the Colts, the Browns with Joe Flacco. I think the Browns could have been here. The Broncos potentially. They did beat Green Bay 20-17, but they still beat them. Seattle, I thought maybe, but Kenneth Walker's injuries consistently make me worry about this offense and the lack of pass rush. Rashawn Gary right now, I just can't believe how good he looks.
Yeah, he's really coming alive right now too.
Yeah, but I don't know. Almost didn't have him 10, but after that win yesterday, I was like, I can't. I
think it's a big enough win, and I think they are. They're kind of one of those teams that has gotten hot. Well,
it's not even just yesterday, right? Like they beat the Lions the week before, so I'm like, all right, Lions, Chiefs, back to back, both top 10 teams. I got to give it to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Bottom 5. This is a nightmare, but this is actually going to be funny.
Where are we starting with like the worst?
28.
So we're going to start at
28, 29, 31, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, 28.
Okay, let's see here. Who would I have at 28? I mean, the Giants?
Okay.
You know what? No. I'm going to move them out. I'm going to put the Titans here.
Okay. Not complaining about it.
Like, I look at the Titans, and I'm like, I don't know who wins a game between them and the Bears or the Giants. But, like, I like the way the Giants are playing now. It seems like Justin Fields finally knows to throw to, like, his best receiver. So, Will Levis probably is going to grow, and they should get better, but I don't think they are this season.
Yeah, I mean I do agree to a degree. I have 27th, so I have them right outside the bottom 5.
Okay.
Because I also have the Bears at 26, so I have them 25. Sorry, I have them barely outside the bottom 5. I get it. But right now, like you said, Fields is throwing to DJ Moore. He's got Cole Kmet. He's starting to feel comfortable. The defense is getting a little bit better now that Tremaine Edmonds is playing. So I'm like, the Bears are a little bit better than people think. They competed with the Lions. They've competed with a couple teams this year. I'm like, they're all right. They're not good. They're not even close to good, but they're better than the bottom 5 of the league. And Tennessee, like I agree. I almost had them here. This might be a team you might not have in the bottom 5 because of the rest of the roster. But I have them in the 28 instead of the Titans simply because their quarterback situation is such a shit show nightmare. I have the Jets 28th. I love the defense, but Breece Hall hasn't come back to play lately because of how easy it is to scheme just to play against Breece Hall. And with all the quarterback turmoil, I mean, it's been Tim Boyle, it's been Zach Wilson, it's been Trevor Siemian, now it's Zach Wilson again. I don't fucking know what's going on, so I have to have them 28th. I think the defense is too good to put them lower, because they can win games because of the defense. And if Breece Hall wakes up, they can win games. But when you can't throw a football, I can't put you anywhere. In this league, this day and age, I just can't.
Well, when you can't throw the football and then you also can't run the football because of that, because that's how bad it is, right?
Yeah, it's gotten so bad that everyone's like, we're going to put literally 8 men in the box and play 4 in the secondary, and you're going to have to find a way to beat it.
Right. So I understand you putting them here, but I'm gonna, and I'll kind of, they are one of my bottom 5 teams.
That's shocking,
but they're not even in this spot. They're worse.
So you got 29.
The Washington Commanders.
Okay. I can't argue with it.
If I put them against the Jets, I think they win, right?
Yeah.
I don't know because I mean Howell could throw 3 pick sixes that game. Who knows?
I don't know. I can't tell you what the Commanders are going to do any week. I don't know.
I don't know. Like this is a great crapshoot game. Just like the Cardinals just won a game against the Steelers. Like
Yeah, no.
I don't even like the Cardinals have moved out of my bottom 5 because they're a much better team with Kyler Murray.
That's shocking. That's my 29, the Arizona Cardinals. I like a lot of things about what I've seen lately, but in the end, Kyler still has yet to go for over 250 yards throwing the ball. He still hasn't thrown for more than 2 touchdowns.
He doesn't throw the ball to Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I have concerns about what I'm seeing in Arizona. I think it's just a click thing. It needs to click. I think they still need some pieces. Obviously, they're not perfect everywhere. I do love Trey McBride. James Conner just came back this week to like relevancy. I know he's been healthy for a few weeks, but he finally looked good again this week. And like I said, I would have had him in the bottom 3-ish, bottom 2, but they just beat the fucking Steelers. So I
think that's why they moved out for me. Because I don't know, these bottom 8 or 9 teams could all be bad enough to be in here, but we're just making the selections.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, 30.
Here's where I have the Jets. Okay. Like you said, quarterback situation dire. The defense is unbelievable.
Yeah,
but their offense, they have better offensive pieces than New England, but they're losing games the exact same way New England is.
Yep.
So the Jets are here until they, maybe they're planning on Aaron Rodgers coming back. Maybe they get low enough that they can draft a rookie quarterback too.
I don't know. I don't think they'll do it because
they won't.
Maybe in round 4, they might go get the guy from. They might go get like. I don't know. I
hopefully they're low enough that they get like the best tackle.
Yeah, there's a couple really good tackles in this draft. So.
Yeah.
This is where I got the Washington Commanders. Ron Rivera's leaving. He knows it. There's no chemistry anymore anywhere on this roster. The defense.
They don't play defense.
The defense yesterday, Ron Rivera took over as the play caller on defense. So I was like, he'll figure out how to slow, not stop, because you can't stop. Slow Tyreek Hill. Instead, he just didn't cover Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything going right in Washington right now. Sam Howell has started to decline late in the season instead of continuously improve. He's starting to decline. Brian Robinson's now hurt. He's still the most sacked quarterback in the league.
Scary Terry's tweeting shit.
Yeah, I honestly can't. I just can't see how the Commanders are even surviving what they're going through right now. The ownership really has to be concerned looking at what they bought. And I know this isn't now, but Jonathan Allen is definitely going to be traded in the offseason. They're going to just move him and start completely fresh, which does not make me more comfortable with this team moving forward. And like I said, I sent you the picture yesterday. It was a Dolphins home game in D.C. yesterday.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
That's kind of the Dan Snyder effect lingering, right?
I know, but they sold out like the first 5 games under the new ownership, and now it's starting to go like people are getting tired of how bad they are. So they're like, we'll just wait until this gets better. But they know it's going to get better. There's a lot of excitement even up here in Northern Maryland. There's a lot of excitement about what the Commanders have in the future. It's just right now it's hard because everything that on the organization is still Dan Snyder's fingerprints.
Right.
They need to clean them. But anyway, that's my 30 of the Commanders. They just suck. I feel like we're going to have the same 2 teams in the bottom 2. I just don't know what order we're going to have them in. So go ahead, 31.
I'm not. As much as I want to do it, I could not put the Patriots last. So this is where I have the Patriots. Again, they're just a worse version of the Jets right now. They literally have no offensive pieces. The one piece they had just sprained his ankle. The quarterback room's a carousel of emotion. If I had to show you a picture, it would be a carousel that's on fire. There's all this talk about, is Bill staying? Are they going to fire him? Is he going? So And then, like you said, they just lost 3 games where they held teams to 10 points and lost all 3. It's just a worse version of the Jets.
Yep.
So
my 31 is simply this: the New England Patriots, because somehow David Tepper took a team that was almost a playoff team last year and has made the Carolina Panthers arguably worse than the 0-16 Lions and 0-16 Browns. They are fucking, besides the secondary, because their pass defense is phenomenal. That team is a shit show. Bryce Young looks lost, and it's not his fault. I know I tried to blame him earlier, but it's not his fault. He's had 5 different offensive coordinators this season. In one season for a rookie quarterback, he has a 35-year or 34-year-old wide receiver as his wide receiver 1. His wide receiver 2 is a rookie. The tight end they went out and got for him in free agency has missed 9 games. He just has the 27th ranked offensive line. There's just nothing going right in Carolina. And David Tepper decided to turmoil it more and make the offensive coordinator and the head coach and the defensive coordinator all get fired. And then, to make things worse, Brian Burns throws a punch, gets himself ejected. It's the second time he's been ejected from a game. He's probably going to receive a suspension. So the Carolina Panthers are just so bad, I don't even need to talk about the Patriots being my 31 because they're just not worse than this team. The Patriots suck ass. They're one better in the league, except for defense. They're good all across the board on defense, which is why they're, like you said, they're like the Jets, but their quarterback situation is somehow worse, and they don't have a true receiver. At least the Jets have Garrett Wilson. The Panthers are so bad. I just
there's not a game. Who did they beat? I don't even remember at this point. They beat Houston.
Houston, that's right. CJ Stroud was useless in this game. 16 of 24 for 140 yards. No picks, no touchdowns, no nothing, no fumbles. Just didn't do anything.
This is before they just started letting him sling it. They were just like, oh, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just that bad. Now, I might not say that after with the number 2 overall selection in the draft, the Patriots take an FBS school punter, but
everything else right now is saying Drake May is going to New England at number 2. I don't like it. I like Drake May a lot. I was high on him last year, but I honestly think both.
I would rather him take Nix or Penix.
Yeah. But granted, you could trade back and get Nix, which is honestly what I would try and do if I was New England.
But that doesn't solve any of our problems. We still don't have any receivers.
No, but if you trade back with someone like Tampa Bay, you go ahead and get receivers with the 2nd and 3rd round pick they'll give you, and you gain a first next season with how far you back you'd go, and there you go. You get Bo Nix, you get a receiver.
What if New England just comes out, they're like, oh, last season was a sham, Mac Jones just fine, and they fucking draft Maserati Marv.
Oh, I meant to mention that when we talked about college football. Did you hear he might not go to the draft?
I mean, if the money's the
money.
Said
he wants to win. He said he wants to win a championship at Ohio State. He said he might stay, depending on how he feels about Ohio State next year.
Well, they better fucking make decisions quick on who's coming through the portal. Because they just lost their quarterback to the portal.
Well, he's an idiot. He's terrible anyway. They need to go get somebody. I don't know. I think they have a 5-star. Hold on. I think they got a 5-star quarterback.
They got a 5-star younger guy?
I believe so. Hold on. OSU. That's not going to work. Air Noland. Is a 5-star quarterback in the 2024 recruiting class for Ohio State. He will begin at Ohio State in April as a part of the practice, playing with the practice and whatnot. So he is committed to be on part of the team in 2024. And apparently, according to this article, it said the reason McCord might have left is because he feels the pressure of being replaced. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know who's going to get him. He wasn't great at Ohio State. He wasn't phenomenal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Clemson. They did just get a 4-star quarterback. I don't know if that's going to matter, but no. Air, whatever his name is, when I saw his recruit rank a couple days ago, I actually was looking at the quarterback class. I think he was the 3rd highest of this current class coming out. Georgia and Alabama got the 1 and 2. So
makes sense. The rich always get richer.
Yeah. Stanford actually got like the 8th, which is impressive just because Stanford hasn't been good since Christian McCaffrey left.
Well, all that tells you is that guy's also smart.
Yeah, right. Like
he might be a rocket scientist or something, you know?
And transfer portal stuff's already started to happen, which is crazy early in my opinion. But Duke's quarterback just transferred to Notre Dame.
Yep.
Because Sam Hartman will be in the draft. So they're going to get Duke's quarterback, who, interestingly enough, I actually think that's really fucking good for Notre Dame. And I assume that happened because of Duke's quarterback or coach leaving and going to A&M.
Probably.
I assume is the logical reason for that one. But, no, I mean, so there's our power rankings, guys. I don't know. This game is somehow about to be 28-28. I assume this is why you didn't have Jacksonville in your top 10, because of things like this.
It's just
struggling with someone like Jake Browning.
They're just, I don't know. Like, I mean, they're just low in my top 10, but they're in the top 10.
But I don't know. We have to pick one. Fantasy emergency. I clinch playoffs, and my trade deadline is after this game. I just got offered Deontay Johnson.
To give up Deontay to receive Hollywood.
My receivers are
Hollywood's been trash.
No. We think he's been trashed, but hold on.
Oh, yeah, he didn't even play.
Hold on a minute. Let me go to Arizona.
Yeah, he didn't play because of the injury.
From my understanding, he's expected to be able to play again next week. Let me double check that. Hold on. Because last week against the Rams in a 37-14 loss, Hollywood Brown had 6 catches for 88 yards, which is more than you're going to see out of Deontay Johnson anytime soon.
Oh, that's true. I forget.
So Hollywood will miss your first week of the playoffs because he's got a bye week this week. Oh, man. Ridley, Deontay, Dotson. Hold on a minute, because Pittsburgh plays. Pittsburgh's schedule might be really relevant here. They get the Steelers this week, the Colts, the Bengals, the Seahawks. No bye week in the way. Hollywood comes back from his bye, so if you survive the first week of the playoffs, they start week 15. So if you win next week, you get a bye, because you'll need that bye if you're relying on Hollywood. The first week of the playoffs for you, week 15, he has the Niners.
Yeah, you definitely need that bye.
After that, it's good because it's the Bears and the Eagles, so you're correct. Both are very bad in the secondary, but he gets the Niners week 15. I would take it because I don't like Deontay Johnson right now. The next 4 weeks are Mitch Trubisky. We don't know what to trust out of Mitch Trubisky. And Deontay and Kenny Pickett, George Pickens consistently are arguing in the locker room. They've both had problems in the locker room this year. It doesn't seem like either of them are getting timeshare because they don't know. It's chaos. So I would take it because Hollywood Brown. Yeah, but the Niners are getting hotter and hotter right now. And that was not with Kyler Murray, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't think Kyler came back for a Niners game. He did not.
Yeah, and then if you take Hollywood, you got to pay attention to Double XP Weekend in Call of Duty. Because
that was Josh Dobbs. Like, that was a different story here. The Niners right now, I mean, it's in Arizona. I would take Hollywood anyway. Deontay right now with Mitch Trubisky, with all the drama going on in Pittsburgh, I have to say Hollywood is the better option. So if you're getting Hollywood and losing Deontay, I think you're better off. Because if you feel comfortable starting him against the Niners, more power to you, especially with what the Niners did just give up 200-something yards to 2 receivers. But, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, week 15, is automatically going to be a starter.
And the Eagles have much better pass protection. Let's be real here.
I don't know who Calvin Ridley plays that week, but there's a good chance that I would still roll with Hollywood, like you're saying, because Calvin Ridley's inconsistent.
Well, he should get more consistent if this Kirk injury from today's game sustains. I mean, he still only has 3 receptions for 30 yards tonight and dropped a ball that was like downfield to him.
I don't think they're going to shut him down because they're worried about him not playing anymore. He's a free agent at the end of the season. They don't give a shit what happens to Hollywood Brown moving forward. His contract is up at the end of the year. He's a free agent, unrestricted. They're going to play him to play. They're not going for a draft pick. They clearly don't care. They just beat the crap out of the Steelers. They're not tanking in any way, shape, or form right now because I think they're afraid. I think they're really honestly afraid of what if we're in a spot to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks.
What do we do with Kyler?
So I think they're trying to win some games here to get themselves out of that situation.
I feel like
where they can.
Kyler's playing for his survival.
So and they have a schedule where they can win at least one more game. The Niners game, they're going to get beat. But the Bears, they can win that game on Christmas Eve. The Eagles, I don't know. I mean, you never know. The Eagles secondary has been so freaking bad this season. I don't know. And Seattle's always a toss-up, especially if Seattle's not playing for anything. You never really know. Just spoil this. Or if Seattle's playing for a playoff spot, they're going to love to spoil Seattle's fucking playoff hopes. So, no, but Brown has been playing through injuries, and he's been playing with, Clayton Tune and Josh Dobbs, and now his third quarterback. I have to.
And when him and Kyler were familiar, he was seeing the ball a lot more.
And, like I said, before this game, he just missed because of his heel injury. He had 8 catches for 88 yards. So, I mean, he got back with Kyler a little bit there. And Trey McBride opens up Hollywood a little bit because you now have to respect Trey McBride way too much.
Yeah.
And the Steelers with Mitch Trubisky for Deontay Johnson's future matchups. I can't even think. Where are the Steelers? Oh, yeah, they're on Thursday night. So you get the Patriots who they might be bad, but their defense isn't. They just held the Chargers to 6 points. And they get the Colts, who probably is favorable for Deontay, but the Bengals, if Cam Taylor-Britt's back by that game, that's not a good game for Deontay Johnson. And then Seattle in Seattle. Again, these are all Trubisky games. The next 4 are Mitch Trubisky. I just don't trust it. Especially since I can't trust. I don't know. I would go Hollywood just because I think he's the more of a guarantee once he comes back from the injury.
Yeah, his point totals would be better on average, right?
As fuck out of nowhere, bro. Yeah. Yeah. And Kyler's only going to get better with him. And like we said, I think Kyler is playing to make sure he doesn't have to worry about a quarterback as a draft pick. Granted, I do think your idea of Kyler potentially getting traded to the Raiders would be really entertaining.
Yeah, but they have to be in a position to draft one of the top quarterbacks.
Give me a minute. Hold on. I guess you call the top quarterbacks too, right? Because everyone's going to be different. This draft class is weird because Caleb Williams is like the one, but he keeps claiming he might stay. And hold on, I'm looking up something about Hollywood.
Caleb Williams is
I don't know what
number one.
Happens. Yeah, I just don't. What happens if he does stay? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of
quarterback's not number one anymore, right? Like you wouldn't think that Chicago probably wouldn't take Drake May over Justin Fields.
I think you'd probably draft Marv.
What if he stays? Oh my god! What if him and Caleb stay? The whole draft gets fucked. Ugh.
Yeah, then you're seeing like a tackle go first.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, the teams that need them are going to be there. Fuck, man. Bill's going to draft a tackle to the Patriots. All right, I can't complain. I had 20 years with a little gap in there, but
I think Hollywood will be all right going down. They have a bye week this coming week. It might have been the reason they held him out. Give him the extra week.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back fully healthy and he's good to go.
I think he'll be all right.
Nobody's really fully healthy at this point of the season, but
except for the
49ers,
the 5 Chiefs offensive linemen.
Actually, the 49ers aren't even healthy because they're missing their starting safety.
So right now, according to PFF, the top 4 players in the draft are Caleb Williams, Marvin Harris, and Drake May. And then Oluwami, I don't know. Fasano. I know how to say his god.
Sounds like a tackle or an offensive lineman.
He's a left tackle at fucking Penn State.
Okay, makes sense.
And then the 5th is Brock Bowers, who I agree. Brock Bowers is better than Kyle Pitts. Even with Kyle Pitts not having Arthur Smith, I'd still take Brock Bowers. I can't wait to see where he winds up.
It's interesting to see where he winds up. I'd be a little concerned about the injuries this late, but at the same time, not all that worried about it.
I think that's actually going to hinder him. I do believe that. I think he'll fall out of the top 7 because of the injury, and he's a tight end.
Yeah, there's more prioritized positions, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can get one of those tackles, like one of the top 3 tackles, you take him.
But you look at the bottom teams and their draft picks, it's going to be the Bears right now, you guys. So the Bears, the Patriots.
Arizona?
I'm looking at it overall real quick. Arizona, Washington, and Tennessee are the bottom 5 right now. So the Bears, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't know.
No, nobody knows. Like, it depends on what they want to do. Do they want to move on from Fields?
Oh, sweet Jesus Christ. You're ahead of me. Oh, you're ahead of me. Nope. Bye. Good night. Nope.
Uh-oh.
No. Done. Season's over for Trevor Lawrence. Absolutely, season's over.
Hold on. I haven't even gotten there yet myself. I'm behind.
Oh. No, fuck that.
Well, they just fell out of the top 10 real fast.
Who the fuck is the backup? See, maybe not. All right, maybe. All right, replay. Maybe it's just an ankle. No, You don't have to be sorry. I was like, why is Lawrence injured? I was like, he's in the game. And then I literally look up and I watched that play happen. And I was like, ugh.
It's a leg. That's what it looked like.
It's the knee or the ankle. I don't know.
It looked like he got rolled up on as he went down.
So his lineman stepped on it.
Yep.
And then he rolled up on it on his own as he got, I don't know. That don't look good.
That could be ankle or knee. It could be both. Ow.
Is it CJ Beathard? Is that really what's about to happen? You know what? If he's legit injured, though, this is the moment. This is the moment. The Browns just practice squatted him again. Just go get Flacco.
Yeah, like
he looks perfectly fine. Just go get Flacco.
He could still sling the ball. I mean, we saw it.
I mean, he threw that one. He threw the one deep ball to Elijah Moore that went over Elijah Moore. I was like, he's still got his arm strength.
Yeah. You know, that's like a lot of times that's what starts to go real late. And like, he's in Cleveland, right? Like, I mean, that's not going to be the best weather.
Right. And he's what, 6'7", 6'6", something like that. He's a ridiculously large human being.
Yeah, until you got Luke Kuechly coming to take your head off.
Well, thank God that'll never happen again for someone like Joe. Though I do miss Luke Kuechly.
Dude, I always look back on that play and I'm like, it looks a lot worse than it was, because it really is bang bang in like real time, but when you slow it down, it looks so bad.
Yeah, it's not the Vontez perfect Antonio Brown hit.
No. That's one of the most devastating hits I've seen. Actually, that I'm surprised. Like the one on Swift in the Philly game.
I gotta go look it up because I didn't see it.
Full speed is so much worse.
I gotta go look it up because
he literally just gets lifted off his feet. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, but
he can't put any weight down. He's being walked to the back.
What do you think they prefer here? Ankle or knee? Ankle for sure, right?
Yeah.
Because knee's just it's a year. Like,
but if it's like an Achilles, it's a year.
I think Achilles you're more likely to tear going forward.
Yeah, but like getting stepped on and then
extending your calf.
Yeah, I don't know. Ooh.
I think the ankle bends, and then because he lands.
I'm so glad you brought it up because I was only half watching the game because we're doing the pod, so I didn't notice. And I was like, "What do you mean, Trevor?" And I literally looked at it as the play happened. All right, guys. Well, bear with us on Sunday. We're gonna have an update for the Jags play. We already talked about who they play. I don't remember. We still have to pick Thursday night before we go. It's 11 o'clock. Jesus fuck. I have work in the morning. I'm retarded.
And McManus missed the field goal.
Yeah. Talk about the energy getting taken out of a stadium.
Oh, yeah. I can see them losing this game now, for sure.
Oh, they play the Browns. How funny would that be if Flacco's the quarterback?
If they were like, yeah, let's go get Flacco. Steal him away. Ah, that's so bad.
Dude, I'm a little worried about your Ridley play now. Yeah, he can't. He's not even in the back yet. He can't put weight down. He's not in the back yet.
Yeah. The thing is that you like a lot of times.
Why didn't you get a cart?
With the knee, you can generally walk a little bit. With an ankle, you're right. There's no load bearing when you blow an ankle.
Oof, good Lord. I never want to see anyone get hurt. I just want to clarify.
No. And the only reason we speculate is because we don't know.
But Trevor Lawrence getting hurt is like heartbreaking just because he's just such a good, he's just such a good dude that I'm always rooting for him no matter what. I don't love the Jags, but I love Trevor Lawrence.
Well, he got shafted again because he went to a shitty situation with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and he clearly is the reason Dabo Swinney's a good coach. We're seeing it every week at Clemson now. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. So they're not wrong when they were talking about this guy being as talented as he is. You know what I mean?
I mean, his offensive line's not the best, which is hurting him a little bit this season too. And I think the play calling's just been weird. And then Jake Browning does things like this, and I'm like, man, I wasn't high on you coming out. And again, I was kind of right. I mean, he got undrafted in 2019. He's been on practice squads his entire career. But, man, he's looking good. The 2 weeks he's played so far, he's actually looked pretty decent. Oh, I think the Bengals are all right with him as the backup to Burrow.
Yeah, I don't think he's a starter. But he's good enough to win.
I mean, I'd like to see him and Pickett.
He's right now. Listen, if I was New England, I'd be like, "Yo."
Imagine if New England claimed Flacco off the practice squad.
Well, I just don't get it. You got guys in the league still. Okay, Mariota's not horrible. He's better than what you got.
I said it. I mean, I've also said it all season. Dalton is the best backup in the league, and he still sits there and does nothing behind dumbass. So,
yeah, I mean, like if you look at some of these teams' backups, right? Like who's the Saints have Jameis. He was a starter at one point.
Yeah, he threw for 5,000 yards in one season.
I mean, he's gonna have his own 30 for 30, right?
Yeah, 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. You got to deal with it, but he'll.
Listen, if you have the better running back, you win the game. I even it out.
Yeah, you can have Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara at running back. You're fine.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas tweeting that Derek Carr sucks.
What was his tweet? Do you know?
They were all shots at Derek Carr.
Oh, cool. Good for him. Way to call it your own quarterback that you're not even playing for like the third year out of 4 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, and he basically said he puts the receivers in harm's way.
Yeah, that's why you got hurt before he was ever there.
Yeah, it said, his tweet said, when your eyes don't work, you get people hurt. It's no mystery, and it's something that needs to be studied.
All right, I got to get out of here. I got work. You got anyone to read? I don't have anyone to read.
I mean, it's kind of late.
It's 11 o'clock, yeah. That's fine. We'll be back on Sunday morning. I've got another podcast tomorrow. I forgot I got to do the NASCAR one.
Taking up all your time.
Sleeps for the fucking rest. I mean, the week, I guess. I don't fucking know. I'm tired. Josh Allen just got another sack. I think that's like 2.5 tonight with a pick.
Makes sense.
Look, he's now only 1 sack off the sack lead. He has 2 interceptions as a pass rusher. No one talks about him as Defensive Player of the Year, but he needs to be in the conversation.
Oh, for sure.
He's also on a contract year, by the way. So
yeah.
Someone's about to pay a lot of money for a pass rusher.
Especially one like him.
Yeah. Fast as fuck. When the Bills and Jags play, he's the best Josh Allen on the field.
Oh, yeah.
All right. But we love you, Boogie. Thank you so much for being here. All the YouTube people, we love you guys. Thank you for the questions, hanging out. Everybody hanging out with us. We just appreciate all of you guys. We'll be here Sunday morning around 11:30. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to have a lot of Trevor Lawrence news by then.
This could change the landscape of some things.
A lot of major injuries to talk about. DeAndre Swift, we'll have an update on him. There's a bunch of other players. We have to pick real quick. Steelers, Patriots. I'm taking the Steelers just because I can't confidently pick the Patriots.
Dude, we didn't even get to the red zone against the Chargers.
All right, so you're taking the Steelers too. Got it. Just wanted to make sure. I don't give a shit that Trubisky is the guy.
No,
quarterback's injured this season. Burrow,
unless
Jones,
the Patriots score 2 defensive touchdowns, they're not winning.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will talk to you guys on Sunday morning. Have a great, safe week, everybody. Background probably is going to change this week on Sunday. I should have a Christmas tree up this week. So
there you go. I like to stick with the all black. Yeah.
When I move into my own house in the future next summer, hopefully I'm going to have my own room for gaming and podcasting, and I'll have my own background with all the sports memorabilia I got and stuff. But for now, it's just my living room since I'm in a shitty little apartment. But I'm going to get a real Christmas tree this week, so I'm going to have to put it up somewhere. So.
Dude, my Christmas tree is already up. 3 feet. It comes out of a box. It has nothing but dead things on it.
I don't know. I'm not a big holiday guy. Like, I don't like Thanksgiving. I don't like Christmas. The only holiday I really, really get into is Halloween. Like, I don't get into it. So, like, but one thing I've always loved about Christmas is just the Christmas tree and snow, but we don't get snow anymore in Maryland. That's a myth now. But like, I've always loved a Christmas tree, and I don't know why. So I always like to go get a fresh one, even if it's just, I can't decorate it anymore. Like, I can't put ornaments on it. Mew will fucking break every single one of them because he thinks the tree is his new home when it comes in the house. He'll just lay in the middle of it. So, but I just always loved it. So that's the one thing I'll always do for myself. So,
Bunny McPherson.
Yeah, 31-28 is how we're ending the podcast. It is 31-28
Yeah,
Bengals.
31-28,
CJ Beathard has to put a. CJ Beathard will have to put a. I'm gonna look into some like plastic ornaments. I started looking at Scooby Doo ornaments, but I'm afraid he'll break them. And Scooby Doo's like my life, so I don't want him to break anything with it. But we love you, Boogie. We love all of you guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night. See you Sunday.